Listen to 97.1 online with the radio.com app or keep it locked right here.
Well, they'll fundraise off of it. There's no doubt about that. These are the weak-kneed people who just want to keep a low profile and never stand up for anything.
97.1 FM Talk. It's free and fair.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage. Every score change during Super Bowl 55, someone wins $50,000 in the Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Square Sweepstakes. See rules and enter for free at rocketmortgagesquares.com.
Hi, it's Michael Mohan with Community Mortgage. It's a new year and interest rates are still at historic lows. If you have not taken advantage of today's low rates, what are you waiting for? I get calls all the time from people using online and national lenders. They question the fine print, need clarification, and want somebody to talk them through the steps. This is the personal service I offer. Whether you are looking to refinance or purchase, call an experienced local lender. Call me, Michael Mohan, at 314-336-6050. Call today while interest rates are still at historic lows. 314-336-6050. 314-336-6050 or online at communitymortgagestl.com. When you call, you'll speak to me.
Community Mortgage LLC, 224-143, NMLS 250353.
It's a new year, so step into 2021 painlessly with Foot Healers 2-for-1 Custom Orthotics Special. Visit Foot Healers now and get real orthotics from real doctors for amazing real foot and heel pain relief. It's 2021. Walk the walk you should be walking with help from Foot Healers. Visit foothealers.com today for the details on this 2-for-1 deal and for all your foot care needs. Brentwood, Chesterfield, Creve Coeur, St. Peters, and Shrewsbury. Foot pain, foot care, Foot Healers. Foothealers.com.
Hi, I'm Mike. And I'm Bill, and we've been friends since second grade. And for nearly 20 years, our company, Universal Windows Direct, has been aiming to provide homeowners quality home improvement products.
And many of them have trusted us with their projects and helped us earn the superior satisfaction rating. Right now, for every window you buy, you get the next one free, plus no payments and no interest for 2 years.
Don't wait. Call us now, 314-696-5909, or click universalwindowsdirect.com, and you'll be saying, I love my windows.
Have a family member right now that is shopping a car potentially with Cassens, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. And you know what? The instance of the reason they found themselves there looking for a car is because they had a really negative experience somewhere else. And this happens a lot. I think especially in this industry, you get jaded and the whole industry kind of gives you that sour taste in your mouth. I want you to try Cassens. Cassens is different. Cassens is located in Edwardsville, Glen Carbon, just 2 miles north on 159 off 270 on the left. And this is a family business. This is a business that has the folks who are there selling these cars have been working there for over a decade, many of them for longer than that. And they've done it the right way. They do it because they want to earn your trust. And they do each and every time. Reach out to Cassens, ask them about their employee pricing sales. It's a great opportunity to get in right now. It's where I've purchased multiple vehicles, including my Chrysler Pacifica that I'm driving right now. And I would love for you to develop that same relationship that I have with them. Visit them online at cassenscan.com.
You can listen to 97.1 on the radio or online with no big tech censorship. Just download the app, stream it online, or say it to your smart speaker. 97.1 FM Talk. Free and fair. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about. That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
The one thing that I have this strange notion, we are a democracy.
Some of my Republican friends and some of my Democratic friends even occasionally say, well, if you can't get the votes by executive order, you're going to do something. Things you can't do by executive order unless you're a dictator. We're a democracy. We need consensus.
Well, Katie, I guess that was then and this is now, huh?
That was then and this is now.
Could you pop me up real fast?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
I've got a little follow-on for what Joe Biden just said. I've got Katie, I guess that was that.
Oh, you know what, Tim?
Am I on a delay? Am I live or am I Memorex?
Over on your side of the computer, I have to come over there and shut off your link that I sent you.
Oh, okay, because I'm talking to myself. I often do that.
Everybody knows how this really works. There's somebody that sounds a lot like Tim who feeds Tim all of his lines ahead of time. Tim just repeats it back.
No one changed the channel. This is the Annie Frey Show. I promise. Welcome to it. Yeah. Tim Jones in for Annie Frey. If you couldn't figure that out by now, here comes Katie. She's going to come in here and do something. She's going to do things that I don't understand. So, oh, yeah. Yeah, that's how you turn the volume off. Yeah, so there you go. Ryan, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. It is a snow day. It has been a dreary week. And if it's going to be a dreary week, I prefer snow because it actually feels like something good's happening.
Absolutely. So, let me start over. Katie, could you play Joe Biden again with his little explanation of executive orders?
The one thing that I have this strange notion, we are a democracy. Some of my Republican friends and some of my Democratic friends even occasionally say, well, if you can't get the votes by executive order, you're going to do something. Things you can't do by executive order unless you're a dictator. We're a democracy. We need consensus.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I just had to get my Russell Crowe in there because, I mean, come on. How can you listen to October 2020 Joe Biden, which is from where that clip is from, and then look at 38 executive orders? And if it wasn't, we can't, if you can't laugh, you got to cry. If you can't cry, you got to laugh, right? And there's not much we can do about it because elections have consequences. So I guess we're just going to laugh about it at this point, and hopefully the country survives the next 2 years. Ryan, did you watch any on the way in? I'm in a driving snowstorm of sleet and ice, and I'm listening to these lunatics in Washington, D.C. tell me that after COVID is over and as it's winding down, they're ready to shift into high gear on the next, and they call it this, existential crisis of our globe. And that's doing everything we can for environmental justice and climate change. So, well, I don't know if our masks will protect us from solar flares, but they're apparently going to make us keep wearing them.
No, I mean, that's good to hear because it's obviously a huge crisis that only Democrat large government can deal with because if it weren't, then carbon emissions would have gone down in the last few years under President Trump. Oh, wait. I think carbon emissions did go down over the last few years under President Trump, operating outside the Climate Accord of Paris and with a free market economy.
Yeah, Ryan, I don't know. They obviously don't listen to themselves talk because if they did, they would realize how absolutely ridiculous they are. Because part of that press conference was this lady from Boston, because she's got the accent and she mentioned that. And then John Kerry, Lurch, is back. I cannot believe that guy's back in government. Go spend your wife's billions, right? Enjoy the world. But no, he wants to be ferried around the globe on taxpayer dollars and private jets. What's the carbon footprint of that? And they're sitting here telling me, all of us, they said, Ryan, that they have to undo and repair the massive amount of damage that's been done over the last 4 years. But as you just reminded me, Ryan, what damage? That we have lower carbon emissions now than we did 4 years ago, and we were out of the Paris Climate Accord.
Yeah, and that's not even because there's been less movement. COVID, you'd think naturally all pollution is down because there's less people driving, right. There's less happening in the whole world. That is true. But the fact that I just quoted that carbon emissions were down, that was true before COVID. That was true just through policy of Donald Trump. That's what's amazing. So the hypocrisy knows no bounds. It's not even really a sport anymore. They're just going to say whatever they want. No consequences.
Well, and I'm under the mindset of like, okay, great. Like, let's work on climate, but can we work on that down the road? Right now, it feels like the most pressing issue should be, are we opening the economy or are we not opening the economy? Are we going to have more vaccines out or are we not going to? Like, I feel like our main priority and the priority of Joe Biden should be about COVID right now. And I know we can walk and chew gum at the same time. I know we're supposed to be constantly working on things at the same time. But these other things that I know that he's going to do 4 years, it'll be 4 years in the making. I feel like our priority right now should be trying to handle the pandemic.
And I wonder, so the conspiracy theory, I've never felt like more of a conspiracy theorist than I have over the last month or so, because I feel like, remember that old movie, Wag the Dog? I feel like the tail is wagging the dog so much over the last few weeks with everything that we are being spoon-fed by the liberal media. And I wonder if because they're finding out, as Katie and I were talking right before we went on the air, they're almost finding out now how hard it is to tackle a pandemic in a country of 330 million people and how hard it is for the government to tackle that. And I almost wonder if, Climatapalooza was rolled out today in order to distract a little bit from the problems they're having. The fact that Operation Warp Speed, before Joe Biden got into office, was delivering more than 1.5 million doses of the vaccine all over the nation. And now they're saying that that's going to be like they're hoping to get there,
Well, and they also said that they started from scratch. I don't know why I can't get over this. I brought this up on Monday too. They keep saying that they started from scratch. You didn't start from scratch.
You did not.
And Dr. Fauci said that in the press conference and explained, this is not something that we're just starting. We're expanding. That's what we're doing right now. We didn't start from scratch. We had a plan. Operation Warp Speed was the plan and it was successful. Why can't we just say that?
It's amazing, isn't it? It's like they don't think all of us out here in flyover country, basically anybody who lives west of the Potomac or the Hudson River or east of LA, has televisions and the internets. That's what Harris Faulkner said. They played that Joe Biden quote from October about how horrible executive orders are, according to Joe Biden, how tyrannical they are, according to Joe Biden. And that's how kings and monarchs rule, according to Joe Biden. So she played that and then she said, oh, the videotape, like that stuff exists. Like, we're just going to keep playing those things. So I don't know. Whew, I'm sorry. I came in all hot and bothered and lathered up because I drove in this snowstorm as I'm listening to the existential crisis being told to me about climate change. So
I can't believe, you know what, though? I have to say, I might be in the minority, but I am so happy it snowed.
It is pretty.
Waiting and waiting for snow.
Once you're inside and you're cozy and comfy and you're behind, bulletproof windows like we have down here. Well, they're soundproof. I call them bulletproof.
And not in the car.
We are in the city of St. Louis.
Well, we could test it.
That's
no,
right.
that's not.
So anyway, welcome to the Annie Frey Show and happy Wednesday, right? Yeah, Wednesday, January 27, 2021. So happy to have Katie and Ryan with me here today. Appreciate you guys having me in while Annie takes a few days off this week. I'll be here the rest of the week.
We are excited to have you. Thank you, Tim.
It's very good to be here. And you know what? Kind of like we've all, and I'm trying to be funny here. I'm not making light of things, but like you always remember where you were in certain historic periods on the planet. And not to demean them, I won't go through specifics, but the big historic things that we've lived through. I will always remember where I was when Ryan and Katie were discussing the Cabbage Patch Hospital yesterday.
I have to be honest. That story was much longer than I anticipated.
And I was really freaked out. Like, I was imagining something out of like Children of the Corn or something by the time Ryan got to the end of his explanation.
It is that.
About the Cabbage Patch Kids Hospital.
Look,
thank God they shut it down.
Don't do it justice. It was that weird. I mean, you picture walking into an old abandoned hospital that they had made into something that resembles a real hospital, but for dolls. I mean, there's your summary. It was real strange.
And Ryan, where was this place?
Northeastern Georgia.
Well, there you go.
That's where Cabbage Patch dolls apparently were invented, and so they have their, I don't know if you'd call it a museum, more of a active repair shop.
It was classified as a toy land. Whenever I looked it up. Yeah,
sure.
Toyland.
The aliens are there. I'm just
Oh
saying.
yeah.
Don't say
Oh yeah.
that,
You got all
Tim.
three types there. You got the lizard people and the other two. I don't remember what they're all called.
Please don't say the
Remember that-
aliens are at Cabbage Patch
Remember that
Land.
miniseries? I know Ryan will remember this. Katie may be too young for this. I think you might be, Katie. Remember the miniseries V? Remember V?
No.
Yes.
The lizard.
Yes. Well, I
the
watched
lizards
the
came to
remake.
Earth and they looked like us, except when you peel back their skin and they're lizard
Yes.
people. Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Yes. Swear to
Yeah,
God,
no.
Katie. You missed
They made a
this?
remake too. It was pretty good.
Did they really?
Katie. Yeah, yeah. It was.
is
I think it was about
going
10 years
on?
ago.
Katie can't handle this. She's wondering where the show went.
V is the name. It was a TV
V. It
series.
was called V. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of a bloody V. Like a
It was a
claw.
very memorable miniseries. A lot of people still talk about that. It was like the mid 80s, right?
Yeah, it was
Late
the
80s.
invasion of the Earth.
It looks like the
Yeah.
remake was in 2009.
That
How was
pretty
the
close.
remake, Ryan? I missed the remake.
It was really good. I think the original was memorable because it was so serious and so campy at the same time. Like it took itself really serious. It was like the Star Trek, thing. Where
Okay,
it
sure.
was everything was very serious, but it was also like kind of corny. But
Earth-
the remake
Sorry,
was
go
really good. It was, I think it was a little longer and they explored it a little bit more. They unintentionally really slammed government healthcare in the
Really?
remake. Yeah, they were not trying to do it. You could tell that they weren't, and that
Yeah.
they were trying to dance around it. But the whole plot is based on the aliens coming in and saying, "We will provide all of your healthcare needs," and people becoming dependent upon them. And so they were like dancing around, trying to make it where it wasn't like, "Oh, we're not talking about big government healthcare. We're talking about aliens," But it was all there.
Which could be the same.
Do you think Hollywood realizes how much it owns itself when it does stuff like that?
No,
I mean, like the Hunger
way.
Games, like all those liberals in the Hunger Games. What's her face? What's her
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah. Does she realize that the whole problem with the Hunger Games is the fact that the government has become too big and too authoritarian? Does she realize that?
You know what?
Donald Trump, the freedom and liberty guy, is not your problem. It's your people, Jennifer, that are your problem.
That is
right?
a crazy concept,
Right?
though. That is a
Isn't
very
that true?
scary concept.
The oligarchs with the blue hair,
Mhm.
right? And the goofy,
it's a microcosm of socialism.
the Lady Gaga brooch thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
She was all Hunger Games out, right?
Yeah, that big
Yeah, the
old
capital
bird.
city, the government itself is wealthy, and everything outside of the government is poor. You're right. I
Yes.
didn't even think about that.
And think about the setting of the inauguration. I haven't seen you guys since the inauguration. So
Yeah.
the whole setting of the inauguration, it was all the powerful people, right, up on Capitol Hill and the military, and that was it. Right?
Yep.
Very Hunger Games-esque, very, very 1930s Germany, very Soviet Union era, 1960s, 70s, 80s. I mean, totally. That's who gets to be in the capital city. The rich, the powerful, and they have their military to guard them.
Did they have like really hard restrictions on the people that were allowed to go to the inauguration? I mean, I know the celebrities were there to sing and do their stuff, but like for the people that usually go to the inaugurations, did they have like hard restrictions?
There was like really no opportunity to go.
Oh, gotcha.
Everything. So I actually got the invitation for this because I'm on a
wow.
mailing list from somebody,
really?
and it was all virtual. There was really no. Only like a couple thousand people on the planet got to actually go and be within the secured zone or whatever that day. So yeah, there you go. The rich, the
And
powerful, and
Lady
the
Gaga
elites.
was wearing her brooch that looked
Yep.
exactly like the Mockingjay.
She had the old Mockingjay going. Wow, unbelievable. Well, it's great to be here today. We've got a great lineup of guests. Brenda Talent from the Show Me Institute is going to join us next, followed by DeRoy Murdoch and Randy Tobler in our 1 o'clock hour. And in the 2 o'clock hour, Bryce Hill, the Senior Research Policy Analyst at Illinois Policy Institute. All that and more is straight ahead. Keep it right here throughout the afternoon, and we'll keep you updated on the roads and the weather and so on and so forth here at 97.1 FM Talk. This is The Andy Frey Show.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Tony LaRussa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet, first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. Here are a few quick divorce tips that we provide our clients. Number 1, don't move out of your house just because your wife tells you to. Remember, that's your house too. And number 2, don't blow through the financial statements that you file with the court. These are key exhibits, and they often make or break your case. And number 3, watch the social networking. Expect your wife's lawyer to do a thorough online search. And incidentally, this is a two-way street. Now, a bonus tip. Partner with your attorney in assembling evidence. You're one of the 2 leading experts on your life and marriage. Your attorney needs your input to achieve your goals. And finally, talk to your attorney before taking action. Good luck.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's St. Louis area attorneys. Online at CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision that should not be based solely upon advertisements. Cordell & Cordell, 600 Kelwood Parkway, Suite 310, Chesterfield, Missouri, 63017.
The Ultra Strand carpet that they have available at Michael's Flooring Outlet is the choice nylon for beauty and durability. As a family-owned and operated business for over a quarter century, Michael's Flooring Outlet is committed to you. They're committed to making you a repeat customer, which means that if you're in the market right now to purchase flooring, they know that you might not buy more flooring in 20 years for another 20 years. It could be 10 years, 15, whatever. But they want you to know that they are committed to that lifetime relationship with you, where when it comes time to buy your flooring again, you know exactly where you're going to go. Michael's Flooring Outlet. They have 3 locations for you. One is available in St. Charles County at 116 Main Street in Old Town St. Peters, Mid Rivers, and Highway 70. You can also see them in West County at Olive Boulevard, just a mile off 270 West on Olive. And they are also available in Darting Prairie. Go shop one of their 3 stores and see what they have. Touch it, feel it, walk on it, experience it, make that educated decision. And you can check them out. All of their products available to you for your perusal right now at michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
Have you heard about Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis? He's buying houses for cash. Call Chris today at 314-782-7000. Chris will buy your house for cash and pay you cash up front. Chris will buy houses in any price range and any location in St. Louis Metro. Do you own a house that needs thousands of dollars in repair? Great, because he loves fixing up houses. Do you have a tenant living on your property? Not a problem. Chris will buy your house with a tenant in it. Do you think your property will be difficult to sell? Easy. Chris will provide assistance for any situation. Do you want the best price for your house? Done. He'll beat any offer you have on the table. Remember, if you need cash fast, Chris will pay you cash up front. Call Chris today at 314-782-7000. 314-782-7000. That's 314-782-7000.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res. This is really, really nice. 2021 has arrived, thank God. Zero Res wants to thank all of their past and new customers by offering 21% off of all services for the month of January. That's pretty cool. Nothing is more important than being clean right now. Just check out Zero Res's review on Google and you'll see why they are the only choice when it comes to carpet cleaning and cleaning out your air ducts. The Zero Res difference is clear from the moment you walk in the door after they have done that job. So call Zero Res today at 314-474-2020, or you can book online at ZeroResSTL.com. Let them know you heard about them on the Glover Show, and everything we do is 21% off all January. Time to get your carpets clean, time to get those air ducts cleaned out, 10% discount for military, active, and veterans, 314-474-2020 for the DGS deal, 21% off during January.
Information to keep you moving. Dependable traffic, mornings and afternoons with Sue Thomas. Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company. The best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor. This is the Annie Frey Show.
Brenda Talent, she's the CEO of the Show Me Institute. You can find everything Show Me in many places, including on their Twitter feed at Show Me on Twitter, and also fantastic website, showme.org. Brenda, the tonight's the State of the State address, and it'll showmeinstitute.org, I should say. Brenda, tonight's the State of the State address, and I'm sure it'll be just like everything else, a little different, a little weirder than ever before. But I'm glad to see that some of these institutions are going on. I think it's very important for the governor, to the leader of our state, the chief executive office of our state, to lay out a vision. He's going to be governor for the next 4 years, and this is the first year of that term. And so, Brenda, what are some of the things you're hoping that the governor focuses in on in his address today?
Well, Tim, good to be speaking with you. I mean, I hope that he really tackles the education issue and opening our state back up for businesses, and specifically addressing the issue of where we have different municipalities that are, following different lockdown rules. Although we're beginning to see them ease up, we've got to be open for business. And that's one thing I have complimented the governor on, is that he didn't shut down Missouri like some other governors did, and we saw how disastrous that was. But, we've talked a lot about education. I would hope that he would be a leader on that front. I got to tell you that I'm keeping my expectations down. I mean, I expect what we're going to hear about is the vaccine rollout, because obviously Missouri's been criticized, at least the reporting has been highly critical of our rollout of the vaccine. I expect we're going to hear about infrastructure issues and how we're going to address maintaining and improving our highways. And then I think we're going to hear something generally about the economy.
Yeah, and Brenda, it's really hard to tell where exactly we are on the vaccination rollout. I think time will just simply have to tell on that, because the reporting does seem to be all over the place, because, we hear those stories about, the vaccination rollout being slow. And then we see other stories where, we've got reporting from our news director, Don Luzader, here this morning. We haven't quite gotten to and unpacked yet, but I saw the cheat sheet on it. And basically, COVID-19 is rapidly de-escalating here in the Greene County region, which is wonderful. Like, the numbers are pretty dramatic as far as fall-offs on. And I think what we have to definitely look at is who's going to the hospital, right? And who's in the intensive care unit. And those numbers are sliding down. So, hopefully they just keep pushing this out as best they can. Brenda, the proof is in the pudding, though, as far as the economy, right? And we had some really good numbers that came out last week about Missouri's unemployment levels.
Right.
More people getting back into the workforce. And this is all a result, Brenda, because our governor took a balanced approach to tackling COVID-19, didn't he? Instead of locking down the entire economy and therefore nearly destroying it like they have in New York and California.
Correct. That's absolutely true. And that's why I say we should be proud of our governor on his leadership in that area. We have had counties, like I live in one, where our county executive seemed to mimic more of the governors who wanted to shut everything down. Again, he's beginning to back off. And I think when you look at the economic evidence, you have to say that the governor's approach was better than the leadership in some of our municipalities.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Brenda, one of the big issues of the new year so far is this issue of raising the minimum wage. And here's yet another example of how something that they're discussing on the national federal level could absolutely have consequences, I think potentially dire consequences to those of us here in the heartland. I mean, Brenda, a $15 minimum wage here in Greene County is a very different animal when compared to a $15 minimum wage in Manhattan. And so, Brenda, first of all, if the government could solve the problem of more jobs, more workers, more peace and prosperity on just raising the minimum wage, Brenda, why not have $100 minimum wage, right? Why not have $1,000 minimum wage, right? It seems that raising the minimum wage via the government completely misses the mark on basic economics.
It does. And the answer to why you don't raise the minimum wage to the levels that you just thrown out there is because the evidence shows that the very people you intend to help will be harmed. In fact, there's a new study that just came out, and the study is really pretty simple. What it did was it surveyed all the literature on the impact of minimum wage. And why did it do that? It did it because we keep hearing these people who have, a bunch of letters after their name, particularly PhDs, who are saying the evidence is that increasing the minimum wage has no impact on employment. And so what this new study does is it says, okay, we keep hearing these quotes that make it sound like there's minimum or no impact. Let's really look at all the literature, all the studies done on the minimum wage. What do they really say? Are these statements correct? And what they said, and we all better listen to this, is don't believe it when people say there's no impact on employment when we raise the minimum wage. What they found was that the literature, all the studies in this area show that the evidence very strong for teens and young adults. It impacts them. It impacts the less educated. It impacts those who have are low wage earners. So the evidence is pretty clear. You're going to hurt those people who you want to help, and of course we all know that business finds a way. If you're basically trying to wipe them out, they're going to find ways to automate, ways to deliver their services in other ways which will not require them to incur the cost that your minimum wage would impose. And we talked about this last week. Our restaurant businesses have already been hard hit. This would be the death knell for a lot of businesses if they move in this direction.
And folks, if you want to look at some of the information we're talking about here, it is right on the Show Me Institute's website. I'm looking at it right now. New summary of minimum wage research shows negative effects. ShowMeInstitute.org is where you can find that. Brenda, the other thing I noted on your website is that apparently St. Louis County, you just mentioned St. Louis County, they're thinking about hiking taxes. Well, the reason they have to do that, Brenda, is because they've had a big chunk of an industry shut down that generates a lot of sales taxes, and that's the restaurant industry. And so, instead of perhaps tightening their own belts, they're going to go ahead and hike taxes on St. Louis Countyans who are already hurting as we try to come out of this global pandemic. Brenda, just another knee-jerk reaction by government, right? Well, we don't have the money. They don't even think about why they don't have the money. They're mostly to blame. And so instead of finding budget cuts, well, Brenda, they should find budget cuts, right, before thinking about even hiking taxes. And any municipality or any county should think about that first, I would think.
Absolutely, Tim. Look, I mean, what does a family do if suddenly you're hit with an unexpected expense that impacts your budget, or that you suddenly you lose some income? I mean, you first start tightening your belt. And by the way, you really need to do that when what your hope is that it's going to be a temporary situation, right? I mean, hopefully our state's going to open back up. People are going to go back to employment, and we've already seen the numbers. They're going back. Then why in the world at this point use it as an excuse to increase taxes, which, by the way, Tim, it's really odd to me. Whenever our government seems to increase taxes and they get what they need, how often do they go back and reduce taxes? I have a hard time recalling when they go, you know what, we got more than enough money. Instead they find ways to spend it. So at least that's my perception. So I really think this is a time for them to tighten their belts. And my warning to everyone across the state is watch your municipalities. This isn't just in St. Louis City, St. Louis County area. This is the budget issues are going to being impact municipalities across the state.
Yes.
Watch your local government so that they're not using this as an excuse to hike your taxes so that next year they can fund their favorite project.
That's exactly right. And Brenda, last question for you that will affect everybody across the state of Missouri. This issue of an online sales tax. Are any of those bills moving? Some people call it the internet sales tax. Any progress being made in Jeff City? And what do you hope that they take into consideration if they're going to move this online sales tax proposal forward?
Well, I expect we might hear something about this in the governor's State of the State address. Yeah, there's 4, I believe there might even be 5. The last time I checked, there were 4 different bills, both a couple in the Senate, a couple in the House, moving. I think there is going to be real pressure to impose this tax. A couple of the bills what they do is they begin ratcheting down our income taxes if we generate a certain amount of revenue. So a couple of them are trying to offset what will be increased revenues for the state and increased taxes for taxpayers by ratcheting down the income tax. There's one that comes to my mind that doesn't do anything like that. It's simply going to impose the tax. And the other issue to watch, though, is we have something called local sales taxes, and you can have local use taxes. There is some language in these bills where I would argue they're trying to encourage municipalities to impose a similar local use tax, and they're using language to make it seem like what they're trying to do is even out the disparity between the two taxes. So again, taxpayers just need to be aware of that. Again, it's evening the playing field. I would say bricks and mortar stores are at a disadvantage when they're competing with out-of-state sellers because of the disparity in tax. But for the taxpayer, we're the ones who are going to end up paying this. And so we're keeping a close eye on, are they going to make it revenue neutral so that it's not truly a tax increase for citizens within our state.
Brenda Talent, the CEO of the Show Me Institute, our guest. Brenda, thanks so much for that comprehensive roundup, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Take care, Tim. Bye-bye.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe. Talk lines are open now at 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 52 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Another reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo. What is Zipline? It's Golden Oak's fast and easy online mortgage application tool that leaves you with more time to take the dog for a long evening walk. Good dog. Plan a family movie night.
I get to pick the movie. No, it's my turn. It's not.
Okay, double feature it is. And still have time to clean up the popcorn you weren't planning on sharing.
Toby!
Bad dog. At Golden Oak Lending, we speak mortgage and love translating it for our customers throughout their lives. Right now, rates are at a historic low 2.5%. Take advantage of today's low rates by visiting us online at goldenoaklending.com to use Zipline, a simple tool that will make your next home loan or refi a breeze. And remember, at Golden Oak, we never charge for a home appraisal if we can't close your loan. NMLS 114937, 2.5% fixed, 2.655% APR on a conventional 15-year mortgage with 30% equity and approved credit. 111 Westport Plaza, St. Louis, Missouri.
Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group is one of the most reliable and celebrated partners that we have here on the Annie Frey Show and with 97.1 for so very long. Thomas Helbig has been with 97.1 as a sponsor of the station for a really long time. And the reason why he has stayed here is because of you. Let's be honest. The amount of Annie Frey Show listeners and the amount of 97.1 listeners that, Thomas Helbig has been able to partner with and work with over the years is really how he bases his business these days. There are so many of you who have sought him out for your retirement planning. You're getting close to the time, maybe 5 or so years away from retirement, and he's the expert. So that's where you go. Of course you would. You're smart. Call him right now for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review and get a copy of his second edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. The book covers everything he teaches in his live educational events that we're not doing right now. Maybe we'll get back to those soon. 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. And get that retirement review scheduled right now. It's free and it's great. RetirementKey.com.
If you want the garage door company trusted here since 1926, always look for the red ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the only authorized dealer of the genuine, original overhead door products in St. Louis. Get same-day service and repair on all brands of garage doors and openers. Convenient evening and weekend appointments available for no extra charge. Visit the showroom or schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Call 314-781-5200.
If we learned anything in 2020, it's that life is unpredictable. There are some things that you just can't control. All the more reason why you need to appreciate and hold tight those special people in your life. That relationship you know you can count on no matter what. At Diamonds Direct, your love is our passion. Your relationship is why we exist, and we stand ready to help you create those memorable moments in 2021 that celebrate and solidify those unbreakable bonds. Our selection of precious rare diamonds has never been greater. From a simple 1-carat princess cut to a breathtaking 10-carat round brilliant, we have your perfect diamond in stock every day at the guaranteed best value price in America. And even in unpredictable times, Diamonds Direct's commitment to you will never waver. We promise the largest selection, the highest quality, the best value, the strongest warranties, and the most unforgettable experience. So as life gets back to normal this new year, remember, cling to the ones you adore by showing them how much they mean to you. And we'll always be here to help. Diamonds Direct.
Finally, you can buy a pre-owned vehicle worry-free with peace of mind. Motor Trend certified vehicles powered by Bomarito. That's a comprehensive nationwide warranty that covers engine, powertrain, brakes and electrical, AC, suspension, electronics, and more on cars up to 100,000 miles at no extra charge. The best back pre-owned vehicles in America are Motor Trend certified vehicles powered by Bomarito. Now at every Bomarito location or 24/7 at Bomarito.com.
You can listen to 97.1 on radio.com through your smart speaker. It's information with perspective. Just ask it to play 97.1 FM Talk, powered by Dell Technologies. Call 877-ASK-DELL.
Got the call in the streets in Seattle. She said, honey, I don't got much time to talk. I broke down cause I knew what was next. And she said, I'm okay, but I'm locked in a holding cell till someone gets me out. Can you help me? I have no one else. So there I was, a defenseless middle kid, crying out for the right words to say.
And so this is something that we must all unite around. This is something that we recognize that those who stormed the Capitol on January 6th trying to stop Congress from fulfilling their constitutional responsibilities, they were acting as domestic terrorists, undermining our Constitution. As you pointed out in my video, those like John Brennan, Adam Schiff, and others are also acting as domestic terrorists because they are also undermining our Constitution by trying to take away our civil liberties and rights that are guaranteed to us.
Never, ever, ever give up.
Yeah, I think the president would give Tulsi Gabbard props. We were talking about her before the show started. Wow, she's like the official Democrat of like, well, she should be. I don't know what Annie thinks about her. Could she be the official Democrat of the Annie Frey show?
She likes her. I mean,
okay, good.
She likes her. I mean, of course, there are things that she said that she would put into action that aren't necessarily conservative. But I told you this, Tim, off air. She's definitely someone that would, if she ran as a Republican, let's say in 2024, she is someone that could really bring younger people or more millennials into this conservative mindset because she does have a lot of those ideas. She
Absolutely. I saw that live where she literally on national television, I think on the Tucker Carlson show, she may have been on some of the other ones as well, where she literally sits there with a straight face. And it's totally true. But the fact that she had the courage to say it, calling John Brennan and Adam Schiff domestic terrorists, I'm like, boom, you go, girl. You know, I mean, just epic truth bomb, Ryan. I mean, and true, you know.
Isn't it amazing how even maybe within the last couple months, although this has started back in 2015, 2016 with Donald Trump, that the values of what it means for the conservative base to rally behind somebody have changed to be, you know, are you a part of the system or not? You know, because if you're not a part of the system, you are considered to be somebody who's very, very viable to most conservatives now, because Tulsi's still got beliefs that we as conservatives would not necessarily want to vote for, but she is rallying on one of the main points that we care about right now.
Yeah, the Republican Party has become nearly the exclusive party of freedom and liberty and of free speech and General Assembly, which is both parties used to be that of some degree, because the Democrats back in the 70s and the 80s, they were coming out of the Democratic Party of the 60s, which was the peace, free will, and fun, love party of the hippie generation, where it was like, dude, man, anything goes, right? It was like, we should be able to say what we want. That's how Hollywood got so like over the top with everything it was doing. And it was all like free expression, free. And we were all like, well, yeah, kind of right. We don't like it, but they're right. But that party's like gone. Anybody that was part of that movement is now, you know what they are now? They're libertarians.
What's crazy?
They're all libertarians.
That you say that is Bill Maher, someone that I barely ever agree with. But he's been saying that a lot in his HBO show. He's been coming out saying, this is why I am someone that associates with the Democratic Party, and this is who we used to be. And now we've gone so far away from those values as liberals that I'm finding it very, very difficult to have anything in common now with these new progressives. That's not how I grew up as a Democrat. That's not who I was.
So I hate to say this, but the president is speaking, and he's talking about the insanity of the next crisis, which is coming down the pike, the climate crisis. Katie, I don't know. We should probably bring this up, maybe listen to him for a little bit, huh?
Yep. I just need 1 second.
Biden. So what it says is on the Fox News, is it a Cryon, Ryan? A Krylon? A
Chiron?
A Cylon? That's from
Not a
Battlestar
Cylon,
Galactica,
not a
right?
Cylon.
Biden signs climate orders amid job loss worries. And yet that's what we're trying to discuss here. Is this a good thing for America, or is it a bad thing? And I listened to most of this press conference that preceded the president speaking, and I was shaking my head all the way in. I was like, this is crazy talk. Well, here's Joe Biden talking about how wonderful it is.
Creating new, good-paying jobs in those communities where those workers live, because they help build this country. We're never going to forget the men and women who dug the coal and built the nation. We're going to do right by them. Make sure they have opportunities to keep building the nation in their own communities and getting paid well for it. While the whole of government approach is necessary, though, it's not sufficient. We're going to work with mayors and governors and tribal leaders and business leaders who are stepping up, and the young people organizing and leading the way. My message to those young people is you have the full capacity and power of the federal government. Your government is going to work with you. Now, today's executive order also directs the Secretary of the Interior to stop issuing new oil and gas leases on public lands and in offshore waters wherever possible. We're going to review and reset the oil and gas leasing program. Like the previous administration, we'll start to properly manage, unlike it, we're going to start to properly manage lands and waterways in ways that allow us to protect, preserve them, the full value that they provide for us for future generations. Let me be clear, and I know this always comes up. We're not going to ban fracking. We'll protect jobs and grow jobs, including through stronger standards like controls from methane leaks and union workers willing to install the changes. Unlike previous administrations, I don't think the federal government should give handouts to big oil to the tune of $40 billion in fossil fuel subsidies. And I'm going to be going to the Congress asking them to eliminate those subsidies. We're going to take money and invest it in clean energy jobs in America. Millions of jobs in wind, solar, and carbon capture. In fact, today's action is going to help us increase renewable energy production from offshore wind and meet our obligation to be good stewards of our public lands. It establishes a new modern-day civilian climate corps that I called for when I was campaigning to heal our public lands and make us less vulnerable to wildfires and floods. Look, this executive order I'm signing today also makes it official that climate change will be the center of our national security and foreign policy.
Oh, well, wait a minute. That's where I get really lost. How can I think that's putting your national security at risk, because China and India are not going to come along with us and do these things. They're not doing them now. They weren't doing them under the Paris Climate Accord. They're not going to do them under the Joe Biden Paris Climate Accord. Ryan, I have a real problem with saying that we're going to have some kind of climate change policy position that's going to be the centerpiece of our national security stances.
Yeah. What
does that even mean?
Do we think demand for gas is going to change? I mean, just because of COVID, it has, but in general, you're not going to come along and change the demand for oil and oil-based products. You're just going to have to buy it from somebody else. So why not? Why would you not want to have America producing that oil? I don't understand.
So making us less energy independent is going to somehow make us safer or better positioned for our national security interest. Katie, you and I were talking to this before we went on the air. I don't understand half the stuff they're saying.
Yeah.
This is some kind of Washington, D.C.-esque speak language that I'm not following.
Well, I think it's important too that whenever so typically what's been going on is that a press conference or the press briefing happens and then Biden comes out and he explains in further detail what these executive orders mean, and then he signs the executive orders. My issue is that, okay, we're not getting too much pushback in the press room. We're not getting too many questions that are answered with straightforward answers in the press room. Okay. So then we move on to Joe Biden coming out and supposed to be explaining further what's happening. And I still don't understand it. And then we go to him signing these executive orders. And if I don't get what I need out of the first 3 hours before you sign the executive order, that makes me nervous because I still have questions that are not being answered.
And Ryan, do you feel that because of what I believe was the complete failure to address any of these issues during the campaign, because the willing, enabling media, here he goes, now he's going to sign another, I don't know, is this number 39 and 4? I don't even know how many we're up to now. Do you feel, Ryan, that this is the first time you're hearing and having to process a lot of this stuff?
Yeah, this is unlike anything we've ever seen before. Going into this presidency, we've never seen a media. We've always known that they're slanted and that they would cover stories in a certain way. They would pick certain stories to cover and others to kind of vary. I've never seen a media collude to provide coverage, as in like football coverage. You know, we're going to surround you and not let anybody get to you, like they did for Joe Biden going into this election, with burying stories about his son and possible involvement with foreign governments. I mean, these are things that even a mildly curious person would want to find out the answers to, that they absolutely buried.
This is the whole "we are the world" way of ruling. This is globalism. You are witnessing globalism now in our U.S. White House. This is not America first. Many would argue it's America last. You've already eliminated 11,000 jobs for sure under Keystone XL. That is not up for debate. Though we can debate whether or not that project should exist. It's been argued about now for 15 freaking years. The freaking Canadians want the XL pipeline, right?
Oh, they're all conservatives in Canada.
Well, yeah, they're such hardcore William F. Buckley, right? You know, fascists up there, but
especially in Quebec.
Yeah. But it's just insane, isn't it? I don't know why I said that. It's just kind of fun. Remind me of a Bugs Bunny cartoon. Oh, my goodness. We'll be back with lots more, including your phone calls and DeRoy Murdoch when we come back here on the Andy Frey Show at 97.1 FM Talk.
You the one I needed. You the one.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/news. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I'm listening daily. You are not alone. During these challenging times, listening is fundamental to promoting understanding and healing. Here's Luke Combs on dealing with anxiety.
My mental health is good these days. Trying to stay positive, doing everything I can to have an optimistic outlook. I am somebody who has struggled with anxiety a lot in my past. It's been actually a really huge part of my life. A couple ways or tools, I guess you would say, to maintain my mental health is making myself aware to the things that I know I'm prone to. Information is key for things like that, and knowing what you're dealing with and how they operate has been one of the biggest things for me. And knowing when maybe some of those things that are happening to you, being aware or cognizant of the way your mind works in certain situations has been the most important thing for me.
Talk has the power to save lives, and you are not alone. Find out more at imlistening.org.
KFTK FM Florissant, K254CR St. Louis, driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk, a radio.com station.
He's supercharging his climate plan. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. That's how President Biden describes executive orders he has just signed, including a ban on new drilling permits that's raising concern about jobs. But the administration argues market forces are impacting fossil fuel industries and that renewable energy sources are the fastest growing sectors.
When I think of climate change, I think of, and the answers to it, I think of jobs.
The administration is also planning a climate summit with world leaders this spring. Fox's Rachel Sutherland has more live.
Lisa, climate envoy John Kerry says the summit will be held on Earth Day, April 22nd. This as President Biden takes executive actions on climate, including directing the nation's intelligence agencies to conduct an estimate of the security implications of climate change.
Our 17 intelligence agencies are going to come together and assess exactly what the danger and damage and potential risks are.
One of President Biden's first actions in office was rejoining the Paris Climate Accord. Lisa?
Thanks, Rachel. Meantime, his energy secretary nominee, Jennifer Granholm, at her confirmation hearing today, also offering some reassurance about these climate changes. The Homeland policy changes, that is. The Homeland Security Department warning of the potential for more violence over perceived grievances and certain ideologies, including frustration over the election results. This in a national terrorism advisory issued today that also emphasizes there is no information on any specific credible plots. Just in from the Fed, a key interest rate being left alone as expected near zero as the economy weakens in the face of the ongoing pandemic. There's been a sell-off on Wall Street all day so far, the Dow down 382 points right now. America is listening to Fox News.
Paid for by Asset Marketing Services, LLC.
2021 marks the 35th anniversary of the American Eagle Coin Program, and these historic silver coins will never be the same again. Why?
The U.S. Mint has unveiled new designs for the 2021 American Silver Eagle coins, scheduled to appear mid-year.
This means now is your last chance to get an American Silver Eagle coin with the original Eagle design.
The American Eagle Coin Series has become the best-selling coin series in the world.
Act fast or miss your opportunity to own the last year of this historic Silver Eagle coin design.
Just call govmint.com at 1-800-973-3097 and you're guaranteed a shiny, new, perfect mint condition American Eagle silver dollar.
Get them now before time runs out.
out. Call 1-800-973-3097 now, and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, free with every order.
This exclusive offer is only available by phone. Call 1-800-973-3097 now to secure your American Eagle silver dollar coins before the current design ceases production. That's 1-800-973-3097.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
A cold Tuesday afternoon across the St. Louis area. Our high about 39 degrees, partly to mostly cloudy skies with the emphasis on the cloudy. Tonight, clouds control 28. On Wednesday, I still think we see a little bit of light snow, could mix with some rain and freezing rain at times, but it's mainly light snow, an inch or less accumulation, less the big word here, and it's mainly in the morning. 35 for the high. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Valentine's Day might be right around the corner, but what I'm talking about is love. I'm Tom Shane. When there's someone in your life who means the world to you, show your love with a meaningful gift of fine jewelry from Shane Company. In addition to our classic diamond solitaire pendants, we have a huge selection of iconic symbols of love. Fine jewelry with hearts, infinity designs, or 3 stones representing your past, present, and future together. Shop our Valentine's Day gift guide at Shanko.com. One of my favorites is a pendant with the heart-shaped natural gemstone and diamond accent for $150. Choose red garnet, purple amethyst, or London blue topaz. Let's bring back love with a beautiful gift tied with the burgundy bow. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and Shanko.com.
My friends, how many of you out there right now believe you have a plan? I followed the conventional plan for years, and then the conventional plan blew up in my face. I wonder how many of you can relate to that exact same thing. The real question is, how many of you have actually figured out how to turn that thing around and make it happen?
Do you have a plan? Lifestyles Unlimited has one for you. It's worked for countless others. Retire in 5 years or less. Come learn more. Join us for our live online workshop. Register at lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
The Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Squares Sweepstakes is back. It's the largest official game of Super Bowl Squares ever, with millions of dollars in prizes, and best of all, it's free to enter. Every score change, someone wins $50,000. Just enter for free at RocketMortgageSquares.com, and it could be you. Touchdowns, field goals, safeties, extra points. Every single score change will draw one lucky winner from the square to win $50,000. Plus, 2 grand prize winners will win $500,000 they could use toward their dream home. One way to enter, 2 ways to win. See rules and enter for free at RocketMortgageSquares.com. Then tune into the Super Bowl on February 7th to see if you bring home some dough. Rocket Mortgage, official mortgage sponsor of Super Bowl 55.
No purchase necessary. Legal residents of the 50 U.S. and D.C. of age of majority. Ends 2/4/2021, 11:59 p.m. Eastern. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. The NFL entities as defined in the official rules have not offered or sponsored this promotion in any way.
It's a new year, so step into 2021 painlessly with Foot Healers 2-for-1 Custom Orthotics Special. Visit Foot Healers now and get real orthotics from real doctors for amazing real foot and heel pain relief. It's 2021. Walk the walk you should be walking with help from Foot Healers. Visit foothealers.com today for the details on this 2-for-1 deal and for all your foot care needs. Brentwood, Chesterfield, Creve Coeur, St. Peters, and Shrewsbury. Foot pain, foot care. Foot Healers. Foothealers.com.
For everything that's happening, with analysis that's free and fair. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Don't miss a minute. Download the radio.com app or stream the station live anytime through your smart speaker. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on a Saturday, and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not a married sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
We're through the holiday surge, so you're going to see more economic activity opening up. And this is going to be a pivotal moment in urban areas all across the nation. And I think it's a moment to actually rebuild our urban areas. Otherwise, with Zoom, remote work, remote learning, you're going to see urban areas suffer dramatically, I think. And we have to anticipate that and start the reconstruction now, as well as the reopening. And you'll see reopening in New York City over these coming weeks.
Stop the hammering.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Well, how about that, Katie? Joe Biden's been in office for 1 week, and we can reopen New York and California. I mean, isn't that amazing how that happens?
It's a Christmas miracle.
It really is, Ryan. It really is. Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Tim Jones in the big chair for Annie. She's out the rest of this week. She'll be back next week, right, Annie? Right, yep. Katie? She'll be back next week, so I'm going to fill in for her. I'm going to show up every day this week. How about that? So,
thank you for doing so.
Don't hold your expectations too high there, Tim.
Very happy to have Ryan and Katie with me as well. And I'm very pleased to be joined now by our next guest. I make sure I catch him every week when I'm listening to the show, and he is none other than DeRoy Murdoch, a Fox News contributor, and he's got a great Fox News piece up today that I'm going to talk to him about. DeRoy, thanks for being back with us on the Annie Frey Show. It's a pleasure to speak with you again.
Tim, great to talk to you again as well.
Yeah, so DeRoy, it's funny we're talking to you today. You must be prophetic, DeRoy, because you wrote this article, this great piece at foxnews.com. Trump answered liberal prayers through conservative means. And DeRoy, the first thing you mentioned is what is the topic du jour of the day, and that's all this gobbledygook about climate change. So, DeRoy, you point out in this article that Donald Trump basically solved all of the left-wing liberal problems of the world. He just did it through conservative means. And one of them that, John Kerry and Joe Biden were just talking about were, how horrible the last administration was on the climate. But DeRoy, they weren't, were they? We cut CO2 emissions under President Trump.
Yeah, that's one of the big surprises is that you hear the left screaming for things like, clean air and get rid of the CO2. And Obama actually called it carbon poison, which is a very strange name for what I'm exhaling right now as I speak to you. But rather than trash the planet, which is the caricature we heard about former President Trump from the left, in fact, carbon dioxide fell 2.9% under President Trump in between 2018 and 2019. And he didn't do this by shutting down the economy or by doing whatever people in Paris told him and us to do. He did it basically by fracking, because when you frack, you produce natural gas. There's abundant natural gas in this country, at least at the moment, and there certainly was under President Trump. And a lot of companies, factories, skyscrapers, office buildings, apartment buildings, so on, move from coal and heating oil to natural gas. And natural gas produces significantly less CO2, about 50% less than coal, for example, about a third less than with heating oil. And because of this, we saw dramatic decreases in CO2. And I believe at the moment, the CO2 production in the U.S. is about where it was, I think, in 1985. And we now are leading the world in reduction of CO2. And that was before a couple of days ago when President Biden got us back into the Paris climate deal. So this was done basically to satisfy a lot of the demands of the left, but done in a way that satisfies the right. And there are numerous other examples of how President Trump succeeded in this fashion.
Yeah, DeRoy, I'm reading your article on Fox News, and some of these points are just things that really amaze me that Donald Trump was able to do that are legit leftist agenda items that he accomplished without any fanfare. One of those is stopping income inequality. And then we're, of course, talking about the $15 minimum wage. How did Donald Trump achieve or get close to achieving those things?
Absolutely. We've heard the left for many years talk about income inequality. Oh my God, this is the worst thing on the planet. And they're very quiet about it. They don't talk about it very much anymore because it turns out that under Obama, income inequality actually increased, and it decreased not 1 year, but 2 years under President Trump. But it did so not the way that the left wants, which is to punish wealthy people, increase their taxes, take their money, berate them as villains, et cetera. It happened quite the opposite way, which was to bring poor people's incomes up. by increasing employment, getting the unemployment rate before COVID-19 all the way down to, I believe, about 3.5%. We had the lowest Black unemployment ever, lowest Hispanic unemployment ever. We saw an increase in median household income in 2019, all the way up to a record of about 68,000 and change in 2019. We saw the poverty rate fall to its lowest point ever. And in fact, Black poverty fell below 20% for the first time since the federal government started tracking that figure in 1959. So again, what President Trump achieved was something the left has screamed for doing, but not in the way they want, but in a way that should make conservatives happy. Similar, they talk about the fight for 15. President Biden wants to impose a $15 per hour national minimum wage, do it through mandates, et cetera. There were quite a few companies after the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017, which President Trump signed into law, the Trump GOP tax cuts. And a lot of companies saved so much in taxes, in part corporate tax rate going all the way down to 21%, that they decided to share some of those savings with their employees. And Americans for Tax Reform, which tracks this stuff, identifies at least 45 employers who actually raised their minimum wage to $15 per hour. Some of them were very large job creators, such as Charter Communications, JP Morgan Chase, and MetLife. And in fact, Cigna, the big health insurance company, at least two other enterprises, they raised their minimum hourly wage to $16 per hour. All this was done without mandates, without rules, without berating companies, threatening them. This was done by giving them the opportunity to save enough money in taxes that they had enough money left over that they brought their minimum wage up to at least $15, which is what Biden, Bernie Sanders, and AOC and others, which is what they're screaming for now.
Yeah, DeRoy, it's amazing what can be done through economic freedom and liberty. Now we're going to get bashed over the head with all this woke leftism, this new lexicon, DeRoy, of gobbledygook. I listened to the press conference today on the way in, and I hardly knew what they were talking about, the climate crisis, and number one, I can't believe that this is now going to be job number one for this administration to tackle while we're still in the middle of a pandemic. I guess Joe Biden needs a shiny object to distract people from the sense that he's completely confused about what to do next on the pandemic. They seem to be giving all kinds of opposing answers. Jen Psaki says one thing and then Joe Biden says another. So that aside, DeRoy, speaking of the new woke lexicon, would you explain to our audience a term that they're probably hearing a lot and may have never really heard much before? It's being used in a lot of weird ways. We used to talk about how we want all Americans to have equality, right? Very noble purpose, right? Everybody should be considered equal. Now, DeRoy, the new word is equity, and they're using it gender equity, economic equity, climate equity, so on and so forth. Would you explain what that is and how that's going to be extremely dangerous for the American worker and the American middle class?
Absolutely. Equality is a very simple concept. We see it chiseled in stone across the front of the Supreme Court. Basically, equal justice under law. That's what it says across the front of the Supreme Court. All of us as citizens are equal. Government should treat us equally, whether we're black, white, male, female, Jewish, Catholic, atheist, whatever it might be. And we're all equal before the law. That's a pretty simple concept. Now we're talking about racial equity, much more ambiguous, much more amorphous. It strikes me as one of those words kind of like sustainability. Ooh, that's a great word. What exactly is sustainability? Nobody really knows. So I think it's very much open to debate. I think the definition I've heard most often is it's not equality before the law or equal opportunity, but equal results. Everybody ends up in the same place. So everybody's got the same income. Everybody ends up, I guess, with a house the same size. And if this is really what they desire, we might as well just get the process over with and just move to Cuba or move to North Korea, right, where they've got, the exception of the top members in the Communist Party, they pretty much have equity. Everybody's sort of equally miserable, but they've all got the same. So if that's what we want to do, we should, hop on boats, and rather than do what Cubans have done, which is come 90 miles north, we can just go 90 miles south and enjoy all the equity that the Cuban government can throw our way.
Absolutely. Speaking to DeRoy Murdoch, he's got a great piece up at foxnews.com. Trump answered liberal prayers through conservative means. And, DeRoy, I think one of the main focal points of your article is, some of these issues have been around for years, if not decades. Liberals, mainly leftists now of the Democratic Party, have said that, oh, just elect us and we'll conquer all these things. The war on poverty, racial inequality or racial inequity, the income gap. And all. Donald Trump made so many strides on so many of these things in just 4 years. But yet now, DeRoy, I guess we're going to have the heavy hand of government interfering. It's almost as if, DeRoy, that liberals, well, I shouldn't even say leftists nowadays, they don't want to solve these problems, right, DeRoy? It's almost like they want to have a perpetual. They need to have a perpetual victim class, don't they? A perpetual group of people that will continue to vote for them in the hope that they might address these things someday. Just give us more taxpayer dollars and more government authority, and we'll deliver it to you someday.
Yeah, that seems to be the case with so many things on the left. Put us in and we'll fix it. Oh, it's not fixed. Give us some more time. Give us some more money. You look at, for example, the war on poverty, which was started by Lyndon Baines Johnson back in 1964. What is that? 56 years ago, if I'm adding up correctly, something like this. And they spent about $16 trillion, barely moved the needle on poverty. And as I say, Donald J. Trump came in and within a matter of 3 years, between 2016 and 2019, got the economy thriving so much that we saw the poverty rate fall to its lowest level since 1959. That was 5 years before the war on poverty. So in 3 years, Donald J. Trump managed to get the poverty rate below where it was when Lyndon Baines Johnson launched the war on poverty in 1964, and then spent $16 trillion not to have it move very much. So they've got a lot of people elected. They got a lot of people dependent on government programs and government services and tax and spend and elect, as they say. And Donald J. Trump came in and in 3 years got more done in that area than the Democrats and the left managed to do in the better part of 3 generations.
That's for sure. Now, DeRoy, it'll be one thing for Republicans to oppose all these things, whether it's this insane, I think, focus on the quote climate crisis, whether it's allowing boys into girls' locker rooms, the other 37 some odd executive fiats that Joe Biden is signing. I think it's going to be very easy to point out some of the problems with all these executive orders. But DeRoy, the Republican Party now, they need to not just oppose, right? They need to show that they have solutions for these so they can hopefully stop the bleeding on this in 2 years.
Yeah, I think the GOP needs to oppose the terrible things that President Biden is doing. I call him President Mino, as in moderate in name only. I'm waiting for him to do something moderate, something to bring the country together. I just see one divisive policy after another. So the GOP needs to stand up to that, but the GOP also has to have positive answers and solutions. I think a lot of them are defending what President Trump did and calling for those things either to be preserved or reinstated, if that's the case. And there are a couple of other things that are absolutely vital that the GOP needs to do. One of them is to demand election integrity, go back and figure out where the fraud was back in November of 2020. And I think state legislatures that are run by Republicans ought to hold hearings and get to the bottom of what went wrong, who did what, and if in fact votes got stolen or sidelined or whatever, we need to know about that. And the other really more important thing is we have a lot of people, my neighbors here in New York City, packing up and moving, leaving New York, moving to Texas, Florida, South Carolina. People from California, Illinois are doing the same, and they're going there for better economic opportunity, low taxes, better weather, etc. And they'll enjoy those things. And then come 2022 or 2024, guess what they're going to do? They're going to vote Democrat and wreck those places. You already see Arizona used to be a rock rib right-wing state. They now have 2 Democrat senators. Same in Nevada. Same now in Georgia, of all places. So people who are the Republican parties and conservative organizations in the low tax, limited government states have to figure out some way to communicate with incoming new arrivals who are coming in from the big tax, big government states, and basically persuade them, look, glad you're here, have fun, live long and prosper, but leave your terrible voting habits behind and educate these people on the importance of not duplicating the conditions from which they fled. I think that is right now the number one most urgent priority on the right. And if we don't get that fixed and get that done properly, 22 is going to be a mess, and 2024 will probably be a total bloodbath.
Yeah.
Thanks to my neighbors.
Yeah, you got that right. Could not agree with you more, DeRoy. Folks, check out the article, Trump Answered Liberal Prayers Through Conservative Means. It's an excellent read. It's at foxnews.com. DeRoy Murdoch, our guest and the author of that piece. DeRoy, thanks so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Tim, my pleasure. Great to be with you.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk to you again soon, my friend. Yeah, and next we're going to talk to another guy with a big brain. That is Dr. Randy Tobler. We're bringing this is the enlightened hour of the show, and then we'll get back to Cabbage Patch Kids probably. So
Perfect.
Please.
Perfect.
We'll just replay it from yesterday.
Let's not rehash the story.
It was too short.
Let the dream die, as my wife would say. Yeah. So Dr. Randy Tolber, he's going to jump into this fray when we come back. We'll see what's on the good doctor's mind and pick his brain here at 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Frey Show. Keep it right here for lots more straight ahead.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show. Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Certainly looks and kind of feels like winter across St. Louis as we deal with our first little real light snow of the season, but it's sliding off fairly quickly from west to east across the listening area this afternoon. Temperatures about 32, 33, 34 will do it for the high temperature this afternoon, but the snow will be winding down. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Tony LaRussa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
When you're looking for a place to take that valuable item, the thing that you know has some worth to it, and you want to trade it in and get some cash for it, you're not just going to go into any pawn shop. You're not going to just go into any, kind of sketchy looking corner shop that you can't really trust that you're going to get the value for what your item is. You're going to go to National Rarities, and we are so blessed in St. Louis to have this really awesome location located in West County in the corner of Manchester and Mason, where we can go give our item to the experts that they have there and have GIA certified buyers tell us what the value is. They have an A+ rating with the BBB. They have a ton of amazing reviews online. These are people you can trust. Bring in your jewelry, your broken jewelry, your mismatched jewelry. Maybe you have some coins and currency that you want to see what the value is for. They love looking at this stuff. And this is something else that's really cool that I want to tell you about. If you've got a collection of things that you want to show them, but it's kind of large, it'd be hard to bring in, they'll do house visits. Give them a call and make an appointment today. 888-787-1112, 888-787-1112, nationalrarities.com.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel, and host of On the Money, heard every Saturday morning at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Nearly every week, our team meets with clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and in some cases actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion on your retirement plan today. When you work with us at the ClearPath Wealth Management Group, we're committed to providing you with guidance that's in your best interest, no exceptions. To request your free consultation, contact us at bobstockdale.com. That's bobstockdale.com. Again, that's bobstockdale.com. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. I've been warning our clients that IRS employees are back at work since mid-July, and their collection efforts have ramped up. Well, sure enough, it looks like it's happening. So if you have unfiled tax returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Tax resolution plans are based off your current income. So if your current income is less than normal due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this is precisely the time for the Lance Drury Law Firm to help you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Bomarito, Missouri's #1 automotive group, has the largest selection of pre-owned vehicles. All makes, models, and price ranges. With every vehicle up to 100,000 miles includes the most comprehensive warranty in the market. Motor Trend certified vehicles powered by Bomarito. Buy a pre-owned vehicle worry-free with peace of mind. The best backed pre-owned vehicles in America are Motor Trend certified vehicles powered by Bomarito. Now at every Bomarito location or 24/7 at Bomarito.com.
Hello, everybody. This is Sean Rimmerman, your host of We're Having a Senior Moment every Saturday at 7 a.m. on 97.1 FM Talk. I also have this company, We're Comfort Care Home Care St. Louis, and we help people live their best lives possible. If you're struggling caring for a senior, if you're a senior who needs some care, give us a call at 314-965-9600 anytime, day or night. Again, 314-965-9600.
97.1. Your continuing home of free speech in St. Louis. 97.1 FM Talk. 97.1 FM Talk. The place for discussion. The place for ideas. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
I don't believe in fate, no psychic vision.
Directly, John Brennan says members of the Biden team who have been nominated or appointed are now moving in laser-like fashion to try to uncover as much as they can about what looks very similar to insurgency movements they've seen overseas, where they germinate in different parts of the country and gain strength and bring together an unholy alliance, frequently of religious extremists, authoritarians, fascists, bigots, racists, nativists, and even libertarians. This is the extent that they are going to try to undermine the rights and freedoms that are guaranteed to every one of us, and it's incredibly dangerous.
Even libertarians. Wow, I bet our next guest has a thing or two to say about that. Let's talk to him now. Randy Tobler, MD. You know, where to begin? Tulsi Gabbard is our new favorite Democrat. She's laying down epic truth bombs every single day on Tucker Carlson's show and many other shows, talking about how the real danger long term to America are people in the deep state like John Brennan, like Adam Schiff, who now want to launch this KGB style witch hunt and targeting Americans for daring to exercise their First Amendment rights.
No, you're right. I mean, I was always surprised that she couldn't get any traction at all in terms of the primaries for the Democrats. It actually worried me because that tells you just how left the Democrat Party is. And she's speaking a lot of truth, isn't she, Tim? I mean, I think, and coming from someone who, has the military service badge behind their name, that's a big deal. I mean, you'll talk to military folks who are on both sides of the spectrum, but they always say, I fought and would have died, and my brothers and sisters in service died in the past for that very right. And I'll be darned if I'm going to let any party or any particular movement take it from me. And I think that's a really strong and credible voice for free speech. After all, if you have a difference of opinions and you have to shut off the other opinion rather than win the argument, that just shows generally how weak your argument is. And I think that Americans are beginning to wake up to that, sadly, with a lot of buyer's remorse as the early administration unfolds.
Yeah, Randy, it is a little terrifying how far they've gone so quickly, right? And hopefully there's going to be a backlash on this. And I think there already is with people like Tulsi Gabbard and Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham and you and I and others, sounding the alarm on this. But, Randy, back in the day, not so many years ago, when Hillary Clinton dared to utter the word deplorables to identify, half the country, 70, 80 million plus people, she was roundly criticized. And it was one of the things that, likely doomed her campaign. But now, Randy, they seem to be proud of the fact that they're willing to smear and tar 74, 75 million Americans to the point where you've got people talking about, all these elitists, these ivory tower elitists like Katie Couric and everybody over at CNN saying people need to be quote, deprogrammed. And some of these folks, Randy, are in government, people like Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell and others. And now they've got all the levers of government. So it's a little scary, isn't it, Randy, about how they're trying to silence tens of millions of people and say they need to be brainwashed.
No, you're right. Not only do they need to be brainwashed, but you're hearing these murmurs of forming government agencies that, I mean, it really does remind me of the musical The Sound of Music, where, you know, you had the young people that had the brigade that was designed to basically out their neighbors, you know, if they weren't Nazis. And you begin to wonder if the real fascists now, we now clearly know who the fascists are. The Democrat Party and all of their sycophants in big tech and the media, and now big other types of corporations, you know, they are now saying, look, if you see danger, you know, if you see danger, call it out. We used to talk about that in terms of terrorists, right? If you see a trash can or a pressure cooker laying on the sidewalk, you know, call it out, let someone know. Well, now, if you hear someone expressing their thoughts that disagrees with left-wing radical AOC squad type thoughts, call it out, call the FBI, let us know. We'll turn on the wiretaps, we'll investigate them, because that's your duty as a good citizen of this fascist United States of America. And that's only going to come back to hurt them, because Americans are very, very sensitive to that. And I think those moderates who, like I said, are having buyer's remorse are going to be repulsed and increasingly repelled from that entire agenda as we move on.
Yeah, Randy, do you think that at some point, switching gears on you, I want to talk about the this ongoing circus up on Capitol Hill. They had their second little impeachment parade the other day. It's so silly. It's just so ridiculous. Such a waste of taxpayer time and money. And, you know, Randy, we got a little harbinger of things to come, didn't we, from Senator Rand Paul, thankfully yesterday, with brilliantly forcing a procedural vote on this, showing that the whole thing is a house of cards. I mean, Randy, how much longer can Donald Trump reside in the empty attic space of the heads of so many left-wing liberal commentators and CNN before they let it go? The acquittal is a coming, right? The impeachment trial is going nowhere. And Randy, at some point, they're going to have to focus on Joe Biden's presidency and how bad his policies look like they're going to be for the American worker.
No, you're absolutely right. But I actually am wanting to see an impeachment trial happen and exactly unfold as it is, Tim, because I think that now that it's pretty clear, there were 45 senators that voted on that rule of order not to have the trial. And so it'll go forward. But if Republicans message this properly, that watch this kabuki theater, watch the political grandstanding, watch this abuse of power, watch this childish, impudent, petulant control of power and wielding of power that you're witnessing, electorate, and we'll stand by because we honor their ability to do it, just as they didn't honor our ability, or, you know, in our contradistinction to where they didn't honor our ability to question, you know, a couple of states in terms of the election results. But we'll let them go ahead because they technically have a 51 vote. You know, they can do it with Kamala Harris's tie-breaking vote. But just stand by and just keep reminding the American electorate that these Democrats are the paragon of that old truth, that old wisdom that says that power corrupts, and we are watching now the corruption of power and the absolute corruption of absolute power. And they just can't handle a very strong hand. So we shouldn't let them play it come 2022. So I'm happy to see this because I think it's going to show just how ridiculous and irresponsible they are. As long as the Republicans stand down and message it properly and vote to acquit or vote to have no trial if they can do that first. But I think they should let the Democrats go and give them a long enough leash so they can choke themselves. You know, if that choke collar has a long enough leash, when the dog finally runs to the end of that leash, it hurts more. And I think that's
it sure does, Randy. It sure does, and I couldn't agree with you more. I want it to play out, and then Donald Trump's going to have the last laugh, and he's going to continue to reside in their heads. You know, Randy, prognosticate on this for me, if you would. Are they going to overreach? Are the Democrats going to overreach when judges continue to do things like block Joe Biden's deportation freeze, which happened yesterday? When they see that Donald Trump is acquitted, they're going to need other shiny objects to distract Americans with, or they're just going to Katie bar the door, right? Are they going to overreach when they realize that they're going to lose the House and likely the Senate in 2 years? Are they going to do things like pack the court and push for DC statehood and end the filibuster? Do you think they're not going to be able to help themselves, or do you think maybe some cooler heads, like perhaps a Joe Manchin, might prevail?
As I said, I just don't think they can help themselves. Tim, I think if everyone looks at their life, whether it's in parenting where you overreact and you tell the kid who didn't make their bed you're not going to play in the all summer for baseball, and you go, ooh, wow, I knew I had that absolute power. Why overdo it? Or if you've been in a leadership position and you have and I have, and you get a few wins under your belt and you get a little swagger and then you overplay your hand and people say, God, what an arrogant, you know what that guy is, and I can't follow him anymore. So that's just the nature of the human condition. We tend to get too much swagger. Look at football teams. Look at baseball teams. They think they all have to do is walk out on the field and they're going to win the game. And you realize at some point, as does the crowd, that doesn't always win the day. And so I think they will overplay their hand. And look, I think this equity card is going to be the one they're going to overplay. When more and more Americans who are equally qualified for a job but don't have the right color of the skin, the right, whatever identity group that they're going to favor, as Susan Rice said yesterday, and they get cut out. This will be like affirmative action, except now across all the welfare, all of the government programs. Farmers that aren't of the right color won't be able to perhaps get approved for certain kind of, land management practices and so forth. You watch the pushback. You watch the overwhelming pushback against that kind of a move. So I think it'll be coming. They can't restrain themselves, and we just have to remind the Americans that, if you want more of that, elected again in 2022. But if you want responsible governance, go vote for limited government with lower regulations and lower taxes, and we know where that answer lies.
Absolutely. Some harsh medicine coming, right, Doc? But perhaps Americans will be able to realize the mistakes that some have made in the electric and reverse course. Just got to hang on for a couple of years. Dr. Randy Tobler, folks, follow him at Randy Tobler, MD, throughout the week and see what he's prognosticating about 24/7. Doc, as always, we appreciate you.
Always great.
In any universe, you are my dark star. I want you to want me.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Get in your comfort zone with 0% financing for 72 months and utility rebates on qualifying equipment when you purchase and install a new HVAC system. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Another reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo. What is a cash out refinance? It's doing a cannonball from your porch.
Watch out!
That new car smell. A new college graduate in the family.
With a BA in business and a minor in medieval Renaissance poetry.
Reading the words, paid in full.
Woohoo! Did it!
At Golden Oak Lending, we speak mortgage and love translating it for our customers. Right now, rates are at a low 2.5%. Call 314-567-GOLD or visit us online at goldenoaklending.com and talk with an experienced local loan officer who will guide you every step of the way. NMLS 114937, 2.5% fixed, 2.655% APR on conventional 15-year mortgage with 30% equity and approved credit. 111 West Port Plaza, St. Louis, Missouri.
Tired of constantly caring for a home exterior that doesn't look as good as it should? You deserve beautiful, low-maintenance James Hardie fiber cement siding. James Hardie gives you gorgeous colors, stands up to Missouri's harsh weather, and lasts decades. At Lakeside Renovation and Design, we're experts in installing America's #1 siding. And our lifetime workmanship warranty gives you peace of mind. Get a lovely, lasting home exterior with Lakeside Renovation and Design. Request a free consultation at 636-978-5000. That's 636-978-5000. And love your home all over again.
Hey guys, Glover here. If you are nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market games without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the DGS.
You just got the diagnosis, mesothelioma. You, your husband, your father, maybe it's your wife, your mother. So what's next? Call Cooney & Conway, the mesothelioma law firm. For almost 50 years, the law firm of Cooney & Conway has helped victims and their families seek justice for their pain and suffering caused by exposure to asbestos. You may be entitled to compensation from an asbestos trust fund claim or by civil lawsuit, but you'll need a lawyer with experience in both these areas, and you'll want a compassionate lawyer that understands what your family has been through and what you're going through right now. Cooney & Conway represents mesothelioma victims across the country, giving comfort, hope, and restoring dignity and financial security. Call Cooney & Conway at 800-322-5573 or go to CooneyConway.com, 800-322-5573 or go to CooneyConway.com, 800-322-5573.
Your energy needs are changing. That's why Ameren Missouri isn't waiting on the future. They're building it with a smart energy plan advancing thousands of projects across the state. That's energy at work. Learn more at amerenmissouri.com/plan.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure is just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of ENT and Sleep Medicine Associates called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, headaches? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with ENT and Sleep Medicine Associates. Call 618-206-5935. 618-206-5935. That's 618-206-5935.
The Dave Glover Show.
I just saw Ted Cruz is angry at Seth Rogen, and I'm like, I'm tired of this life.
Yeah. This is too much.
Weekdays at 3 on 97.1 FM Talk.
And I feel the time's a ways to go. So where you go into tomorrow?
What of Democrat words? What of Democrat incitement to violence? No Democrat will honestly ask whether Bernie Sanders incited the shooter that nearly killed Steve Scalise and volunteer coach. The shooter nearly pulled off a massacre. I was there because he fervently believed the false and inflammatory rhetoric spewed by Bernie and other Democrats, such as the Republican health care plan for the uninsured is that you die. As this avowed Bernie supporter shot Steve Scalise, nearly killing him, and shot one of our coaches and 2 or 3 of our staff, he screamed, "This is for health care." Ask me or anyone if that's incitement.
Yeah. And if you didn't hear Senator Rand Paul's speech there on the Senate floor, that was part of it. Pull it up and listen to the whole thing. Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Tim Jones in the big chair today with Katie and Ryan by my side. I don't know if either one of you heard any of that yet until just now.
I have not.
Rand Paul walked on it. It was like a scene from like a superhero action movie with like 2 giant flamethrowers in each hand and like burned the whole place down. I mean, figuratively. Okay, figuratively. All right, figuratively.
Which is what that was his point, though. I mean, I think he even said in there, how many of you have not ever used the word fight figuratively, not meaning go and punch somebody in the face to try to take your government back, but fight, in whatever way that you're using it. He said, raise your hand if you're a Democrat who's ever used the word fight talking about voting. And he's right. Like, so much of what we're talking about is misusing language for the purposes of whatever we need it to mean right now.
Ryan, I've never heard so many never Trumpers lose their minds to such a high degree than over what happened at the Capitol on January 6th, which rightly so. That was horrible. We condemned it. We all did on all sides of the political aisle. We said, like Tucker Carlson has said, I've heard Tucker Carlson say this probably 12 times since January 6th, because he has not been afraid to take on this issue. He's fearless. So is Tulsi Gabbard. He had her on last night. This idea that we should always condemn political violence, no matter what shape, size, or color it comes in, right? Mm-hmm. We should condemn what happened on January 6th. Where was that condemnation to that level about what Rand Paul just discussed? A crazed left-wing liberal lunatic, a avowed Bernie Sanders supporter, nearly mowed down an entire literal baseball team of Republican congressmen. Steve Scalise, okay, my friend, Jason Smith, the congressman. Now, I'm going to get a little aggravated here, a little emotional. My friend Jason Smith is very good friends with Steve Scalise, and I texted Jason back during that. Jason and I served together in the House. And I said, Jason, is Steve Scalise going to live?
Ugh.
I actually asked him that question because Jason and I have known each other for 15 years. I could ask him that question. And I didn't tell anybody this till right now. This has been this has been a couple of years. Jason's response to me, Tim, we all need to keep praying really hard. Steve Scalise almost died, was nearly assassinated at the hands of a left-wing liberal lunatic. And I heard no degree of condemnation from that side of the aisle to the level that I've heard it about the horrific events at the Capitol. They both should have been condemned equally. And somehow we have rationalized and moralized political violence, where if it comes from one side of the political spectrum, it's okay, and the other side, it's not. I don't understand that, Katie. It should all be condemned, shouldn't it?
It should never, ever, ever be something. It should never get to this level. It should never get to this level where the last year and a half to 2 years, we have seen nothing as the American people but political violence. And don't get me wrong, the peaceful protests that we saw in the summer were peaceful protests. Absolutely. But then you had the rioters that happened when the sun went down, that were burning buildings, burning cars, wrecking small businesses, killing people. Then you have the Capitol riots that people die, and they charged the mall. And that was horrific to see. But we have to understand that when it comes to political violence, we cannot run to our corners and start defending it or blaming other people.
Or moralizing it in some way.
You cannot do that. It is horrendous. And the minute that we allow something like this to happen and start saying, well, this is what your side did, or this is what, and not taking accountability and not condemning it, is when we have lost sight of what America is all about.
Last thing I'll say on this, why are there still violent riots going on to this very day in Seattle, Portland, and Denver?
Oh, heartbreaking.
We are now, 5, 6, 7 months into this, the same pattern. It could be over and done with yesterday if they wanted to stop it.
Heartbreaking.
Ted Wheeler, the mayor of Portland, had to whip out pepper spray, and he's a Democrat. He shouldn't have to deal with this. He was confronted at a restaurant in Portland, and some dude followed him outside and was going to do Lord knows what to him. Ted Wheeler had to pepper spray him. Hey, Ted Wheeler, how about everybody else who needs to be defended? How about calling in the National Guard? The Democrat mayor of Chicago back in the 60s, Daley, one of the famous Daleys, they had the Chicago riots. You guys have probably heard of that. I wasn't around. You guys weren't around, but we've all heard about the Chicago riots in the 60s. There was a Democratic mayor, Daley. They were the race riots of the late 60s in Chicago. And you know what Daley did? The day they started, he had the National Guard in there within 48 hours. The riots were put down. They stopped. They never happened again. There's ways to deal with this, and there's ways to coddle it, encourage it, look the other way on it. And I just really feel that the left, because of this new dangerous wokeism, is, I don't know if maybe encouraging is the wrong word. They're whistling past the graveyard as it's all happening.
Yeah. Yeah. The amazing thing to me is that, and this is a weird take, like, I don't know that I've ever heard anybody say this, but it's incredibly easy to condemn violence. That's what's so amazing, that you're not hearing them do it. It's they literally, especially in federal government, the Democrats there could have at the time, over the span of 2020, literally taken no action because they couldn't really do anything at the federal level. They could have done nothing but just said, we condemn this violence. They didn't even do that. And you're right, Tim. On the right, whenever there's been this political violence that happened on January 6th, you've heard nothing but condemnation, saying this is not who we are. We shouldn't be doing this. But that's how easy it is to do, to say, stop. Just stop it, and it'll go away.
It really is. It really is.
You know what's crazy that I've been kind of thinking about too is that I feel like because of what happened on January 6th, now the whole entire Republican Party is labeled as insurrectionists and these crazy, wild conspiracy theorists because there was a group of people that decided to do something horrendous. But now the Republican Party, even though we've condemned it, now every single one of us is being compared to that. And if you just listen to what I said 3 minutes ago, I differentiated between the peaceful protests and the rioters that happened this summer that were mostly Democrats. You don't want to paint a broad brush. Once you start generalizing and you start painting a broad brush on both parties, that's where the divisiveness comes through.
The left loves to label people, and the right generally likes to look at people on an individual basis. That's kind of the differences between our parties. The left loves to broad brush and broad stroke everything and do one size fits all. And on the right, we generally like to look at we judge people on their individual merits, not things that are immutable, not race, color, creed, gender, sexual origin. We judge people on the content of their character and what they actually do and what they actually believe. And so I'll give you another equivalency. I don't sit around and say that everyone on the left side of the center, okay, so you have the center fulcrum, right? Everybody to the left of that, I don't call them all members of Antifa and BLM Marxists, but I feel like the people on the left do that to us, right, Katie? Like the people on the center right side of the aisle, we do get all painted as well because name the politician, Donald Trump, said something that you could argue, oh, maybe that was xenophobic, okay? Well, you're all a bunch of haters. You're all a bunch of racists. Just because, no, I can support the rest of Donald Trump's policies on illegal immigration and not wanting our southern border to be completely overrun by other countries. By the way, Mexico has a tougher illegal immigration stance than we do.
Almost every country does.
Almost every country, Ryan. Yeah, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. Katie wanted to talk about something, and we didn't get to it. Let's see. Who do we have? We have Bryce Hill next, but how about in the 2:00 hour? Katie wants to talk about, and it is another labeling thing, equality versus equity. Huge difference. They sound the same, and that's what the left does. They love to have these little clever little labels, but they're very different concepts. And I believe one of our super fans, I'll call him Brad. I love Brad. Brad follows me on Twitter. He's wonderful. He's one of my favorite Twitter folks. Makes excellent points. He's brilliant. He's on our chat,
our
here.
live stream. Yep.
What do we call this? This live stream thing.
He's a moderator.
What do we call this?
Room.
What do we call this thing? And if you'd like to join us on the live stream, feel free, facebook.com/Annie Frey Show, or you can look at us on YouTube /Annie Frey. We would love to hear your comments. Just follow along with us. We're going to be messaging you back and forth, and you can also see us too.
So Brad inspired us to talk about this. Hello, everybody. I love the little chat room thingy here.
It's cool.
Yeah, like looking at myself on camera. Not really.
That's all we do all day.
Got a bunch
That's
of
why we have such long gaps between our comments.
That's right.
Like, oh man,
that's right.
Look at that.
Is that my good side? Or is it my back side?
Oh,
I don't know.
That's looking pretty good.
So while you're getting grossed out by Ryan and I, Katie's going to make us take a break. And we got some callers calling in. I do have to do an interview when we come back, but if you'd like to call back for the rest of the 2:00 hour, I'll be happy to take all of you all. Keep it right here throughout the rest of the afternoon. It's the Annie Frey Show at 97.1 FM Talk.
Want to know the best way to add equity to your home? New windows from Universal Windows Direct. And that's not all. They're beautiful and energy efficient. When only the best will do, call Universal Windows Direct. Quality windows, reliable and trusting installers, an undeniable reputation, and right now, buy one window, get one free, plus 0 payments and 0 interest for 2 years. Call 314-696-5909 or click now at universalwindowsdirect.com.
Home warranty. I know, right? Buying coverage for appliances, your heater and AC, etc., from a company that hopes you never ever have a claim or call? Let me introduce you to a real home warranty company, the kind that actually wants to help you. Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance. Upkeep visits your home 4 times a year to maintain your appliances and equipment. You will never get a lack of maintenance denial because Upkeep does the maintenance. Also nice, Upkeep assigns you one point person to help you. You won't be passed around like an office hot potato, and you won't get subcontractors. Upkeep does all the work, so there's no blame game. Just experts helping you. Visit upkeepstl.com today and type in 971 for $100 off. Upkeepstl.com. Type in 971 to get $100 off. Don't be denied. Instead, be relieved. Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance, 636-387-7331. Ask about their free maintenance minutes. Keep up your home with Upkeep.
You've heard Tom Shane on the radio, but have you actually visited Shane Company? If you're looking for a unique engagement ring that reflects your personal style, come see us. Not only do we have all the classics, but our in-house design team is constantly introducing beautiful new styles. For your center stone, you'll find all the traditional diamond shapes, as well as the trending shapes like oval, cushion, and princess cut. Another way to make the ring uniquely yours is to choose a colorful natural center stone. We're known for our vivid rubies and sapphires. Our sapphires come in over a dozen colors, like peach, lavender, and ice blue. Visit our store or go online where you can create and virtually try on any ring. With the largest selection of ring settings and loose stones, unlimited combinations and looks, at Shane Company, you can get your ring your way. We'll protect it for life, for free, and keep it sparkling like the day you said yes.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. It's the first of the year and the housing market is already red hot. Homes are selling day one on the market with multiple offers, and it's only January. Industry experts are predicting that this will be the biggest year we've ever seen for home purchases. We need to get you pre-approved today. Start the new year off right and get pre-approved for your new home purchase by visiting thehomeloanexpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
KFTK FM Florissant, K254CR St. Louis, driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk, a radio.com station.
A nationwide warning about potential violence. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. It's an advisory about lingering political and anti-government motivations.
The Department of Homeland Security warns some ideologically motivated violent extremists could continue to mobilize to incite or commit violence. The National Bulletin does not point to a specific threat, but notes a heightened threat environment that will persist, citing individuals frustrated with the exercise of governmental authority, the presidential transition, and other perceived grievances. Security has been enhanced here in D.C. with National Guard troops deployed to the Capitol following the January 6th riot that left 5 people dead, including a Capitol police officer, as Congress was certifying the Electoral College results.
Fox's Jared Halpern on the Hill. President Biden is defending what amounts to a crackdown on fossil fuels amid pushback over job concerns.
A key plank of our Build Back Better recovery plan is building a modern, resilient climate infrastructure and clean energy future that will create millions of good-paying union jobs.
He's also vowing to do right by coal miners and insisting again he will not ban fracking while signing a ban on new drilling leases wherever possible. The president calls it a reset of oil and gas leasing and says climate change will be at the center of a whole-of-government approach.
He makes climate central to foreign policy planning
to diplomacy, and to national security preparedness. It creates new platforms to coordinate climate action across the federal agencies and departments.
Climate envoy John Kerry says the U.S. will host a climate summit of world leaders on Earth Day. The U.S. economy remains at risk from coronavirus. That bottom line from the Fed, leaving interest rates alone and signaling it's not sure how long the uncertainty will last. Right now, the Dow is down 616 points. America is listening to Fox News.
Paid for by Asset Marketing Services, LLC.
2021 marks the 35th anniversary of the American Eagle Coin Program, and these historic silver coins will never be the same again. Why?
The U.S. Mint has unveiled new designs for the 2021 American Silver Eagle coins, scheduled to appear mid-year.
This means now is your last chance to get an American Silver Eagle coin with the original Eagle design.
The American Eagle Coin Series has become the best-selling coin series in the world.
Act fast or miss your opportunity to own the last year of this historic Silver Eagle coin design.
Just call govmint.com at 1-800-973-3097 and you're guaranteed a shiny, new, perfect mint condition American Eagle silver dollar.
Get them now before time runs out.
Call 1-800-973-3097 now, and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, free with every order.
This exclusive offer is only available by phone. Call 1-800-973-3097 now to secure your American Eagle silver dollar coins before the current design ceases production. That's 1-800-973-3097.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Certainly looks and kind of feels like winter across St. Louis as we deal with our first little real light snow of the season, but it's sliding off fairly quickly from west to east across the listening area this afternoon. Temperature is about 32, 33, 34 will do it for the high temperature this afternoon, but the snow will be winding down. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Victory, World War II in real time, an illustrated biography by the Associated Press commemorating the 75th anniversary of the Second World War, available wherever books are sold.
Hello, Marvin Mitchell here from Compass Retirement Solutions. Did you know that the average 3-year CD rate in the area was less than 1%? That's why we are excited to offer you several accounts that are short-term and pay better than bank rates. For example, we currently have a 3-year account paying 2.4% and a 5-year account paying 3.5% per year guaranteed. What a great place for your lazy money. You know, the money that you don't plan to use for the next 3 to 5 years. Now, terms and conditions do apply. So for more information, call 314-373-1598. Again, call 314-373-1598. This is Marvin Mitchell, and we would like to put your lazy money to work for you. Call 314-373-1598.
Guarantees are backed by the claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Rates can change without notice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
Beth just said goodbye to her polka dot heels.
Goodbye.
She sold them on Mercari to Shelley, who gladly said
Hello.
just after she said goodbye to a set of bright orange cookware.
Really, Mom? Citrus?
They sold quickly on Mercari to Dan.
Oh, these are groovy.
Then Dan sold his rollerblades on Mercari.
Bye-bye. I bike now.
Which took us back to where we started with Beth, who said,
Hello, rollerblades. Whee!
Buy and sell almost anything from home with Mercari, your marketplace. Find it on the app stores or Mercari.com.
When the forgotten poor are in need of healing, they wait for a ship unlike any other. Mercy Ships, a floating hospital staffed by volunteers, heroes of mercy who donate their time to save lives.
Every human has the right to have a place at the table of the human race.
If you could just see the smiles that you get when lives have been changed, then it would make it all worth it.
To learn more about Heroes of Mercy, go to mercyships.org.
Lakeside Renovation and Design.com is the website for your interior or your exterior projects. Lakeside is waiting for your phone call. 636-978-5000. 636-978-5000. Call the experts. Call the company that hires the same people, that has 100 employees, where they have experts. If it's something that's going to go on in your house, they know the guy to go to. They know the girl that's going to nail that project. They know the person who is going to come into your home because they've chosen them as the very best. That's what you get when you go with Lakeside, along with a lifetime workmanship warranty behind the project that they're going to do in your homes, transferable to the new owners as well. If you are interested in doing an interior renovation, maybe it's a bathroom or a kitchen, maybe you're looking at refinishing maybe an office, a home office, and converting a basement or something into a new bedroom, whatever the case may be. Reach out to Lakeside at 636-978-5000 and get your project scheduled today. LakesideRenovationandDesign.com.
Facts presented fairly. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Stream the station anytime at 971talk.com or download the app for your phone at radio.com. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on a Saturday, and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
These people who are not going to vote for a conviction will be remembered. We will remember them because if they let him go without any kind of accountability, Trump, this will happen again. It will happen again. And we will remember those names of that senators and the House people who decided not to convict this guy because the blood is on their hands then.
Impeach 45.
I mean, they're just going to keep, you know what? Get over it. Move on, right? I mean, the Trump derangement syndrome, he's still residing in that little empty space that's 6 inches between their ears. It's just, I'm more focused now on what's going on right now. Stop living in the past. There is a new president, and he's doing things that I believe are to the detriment of the American worker and the middle class. I mean, you want to support the American worker and the middle class, then your party's the Republican Party. I'm sorry to tell you that. And I'm glad it's not your grandfather's Republican Country Club party anymore. And Donald Trump helped us realize that we need to be a bigger tent party. Look, whatever you want to say about him, he attracted more voters to the Republican Party than any other Republican president ever in American history. And those voters were more African Americans, more Hispanic Americans, more women, and more young people. So you can't just run around saying that 75 million Americans are racist, misogynist, nativist, xenophobes, blah, 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 blah. You just can't do that. So we're going to boil things back down to the regional level here. Oh, by the way, welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Tim Jones in the big chair for the rest of this week with Katie and Ryan as my wingmen and women here on the big show. And we're going to talk to Bryce Hill, who we speak to around this time every week about what's going on here in the heartland, specifically, I hate to say it, the once great state of Illinois. Bryce, good afternoon. Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Happy to have you on.
Hey, thanks so much for having me back.
And just to remind everybody, Bryce is a senior research analyst at Illinois Policy. Bryce, the 2020 picture for, well, let me just say this. The 2020 picture for most states was not as rosy as it was in 2019. But unfortunately, Bryce, Illinois seemed to lead the pack on being last, didn't they?
Yeah, we were, especially within the Midwest, Illinois was one of the worst hit states by COVID-19 and state-mandated mitigation measures. The state lost 6.9% of its jobs. That's, 423,300 of them. That's the largest drop seen in history since the BLS began recording the measure all the way back in 1947. So previous to this, the worst year on record was 2009. When payroll was dropped by 4.6%. So, now we're doing 50% worse than that, basically. So 2020, to put it mildly, was a rough year for Illinois.
Yeah, Bryce, nearly approaching 500,000 jobs. Bryce, I would have to imagine that represents a lot of wealth, and I'm not talking about the wealthy, I'm just talking about money. That has to result in a lot of money leaving the state and a lot of actual people saying, I give up. I'm out of here. I'm going to Missouri or Tennessee or Florida or Texas or Oklahoma.
Yeah, we know that, due to the pandemic and all the related measures to that we're missing a large chunk of our workforce because many have given up working entirely or given up their search for work in the state, especially, working mothers who have to, be faced with the decision to try to find a new job or to stay home to take care of their kids, especially as schools or childcare facilities weren't open. So it's really almost impossible to understate just how big of an impact this has had on the state. Earlier estimates put the daily losses of, the pause on economic activity and things like that at $183 million each and every single day.
Bryce Hill is Senior Research Analyst at Illinois Policy. Obviously, you're talking to a St. Louis area audience. So those of us who live in Illinois or have those who we love who live in Illinois are from, downstate, a different part of the state than runs the state, which is Chicago. So let me ask you this, Bryce. In terms of all these job losses, obviously, Chicago will have lost more jobs because there are more jobs there. But per capita, has it been worse in a place like Chicago where the lockdowns have been a little bit worse than it has been downstate as far as per capita jobs losses?
Yeah, we've definitely seen pretty heavy job losses on a percentage basis in Chicago. So really actually similar to that of the entire state. But just really to highlight what you're saying, states, especially states that get or areas of the state that get the benefit of sharing a border or maybe misfortune, depending on how you look at it. Missouri, their job losses for the year were just over 3%. So job losses in Illinois compared to other similar areas were basically twice as bad. And it's part of the reason why, some areas of the state, particularly those where people can afford to work, maybe they're lucky enough to work across state lines, have felt job losses a little bit less. Also, places where we're more reliant on things like the leisure and hospitality, where restaurant employment is really big, have been hard hit. So the tourism industry, particularly in the Chicago area, has seen massive job losses. So yes, more densely populated areas of the state, unfortunately, have seen a bit more of a hit when it comes to their payrolls.
Obviously, if we're talking about just 2020, then we're talking about something that's almost entirely COVID related. But is this a problem that you've seen happening, before COVID? Has this been trending in the wrong direction?
Yeah, one could say that we really never recovered from the Great Recession. So for the past, decade, really 2 decades, there have been a few stories going on in the areas of the national economy that have been declining, mostly manufacturing. Illinois' employment has been dropping faster. Then in the areas where employment is growing nationally, the service sector, Illinois has failed to keep up. And then you have, even things like the leisure and hospitality industry beginning to move in the opposite direction. So really, Illinois' problems are longstanding. We mentioned at the top that 2019 was a pretty rosy picture for most places. In Illinois, it wasn't. Illinois actually shed jobs in 2019 as well.
Wow.
It wasn't very many jobs. It was relatively flat, but we were still negative. And then this year, comes along and really wrecks things for the state economy.
Speaking to Bryce Hill, Senior Research Analyst at Illinois Policy Institute. You can follow everything Illinois Policy, illinoispolicy.org. Bryce, and we've been talking about this article. It's hard to kind of imagine this. 423,000 jobs lost in the state of Illinois. 2020, therefore, marking the worst year for job loss in Illinois history, in the entire history of the state. Bryce, where do we go from here? I mean, there's things that would fix this, right, Bryce? There's policy changes that could reverse this course, but is there? With these numbers coming out, with folks seeing what you're publishing in Illinois Policy, and I'm sure a lot of other folks are talking about this all across the land of Lincoln. Is there anybody in Springfield, Illinois, they're at the Capitol, paying attention to any of this and deciding that maybe it's time now to do something different?
Yeah, I think absolutely there are. I think it was conveniently timed that we saw public officials begin to roll back mitigation measures and reopen some areas of the economy. We're just after the most recent jobs report. So, do with that information what you will. But then reassuringly, when the legislature returned a couple of weeks ago for their lame duck session, as new members were getting ready to be sworn in, lawmakers actually did avoid decoupling a measure from the CARES Act that was passed by Congress that would have the decoupling would have raised small business taxes by up to $1 billion in the state. And lawmakers decided to not do that despite Governor Pritzker really pushing for that. So I do think that there are some people in Springfield that recognize how big of a downturn this has been and are thinking, at least starting to think about, how do we bring our businesses back? So there have been some positive signs. And, really when you talk about, turning the state around, this is part of a longer term trend. Like certainly 2020 presented unique challenges and was devastating. But the broader theme of Illinois' economy failing to add jobs, struggling to keep up with the rest of the nation is a long-term problem. And I think that long-term stability really begins and ends with constitutional pension reform, when we have, almost more than a quarter of state tax dollars being raised to go to that problem, to where the system is becoming more and more indebted. When people don't receive anything in terms of services in exchange for their tax dollars, it makes it really hard for businesses and families to invest in a state. And so I think if we're going to get serious about restoring Illinois to a once great state that it was, then that's where we have to start.
Bryce, we're running out of time here, but most of the time we have two co-hosts on this show that are from Illinois right now. It's just one, so I'm speaking on behalf of myself here. But I desperately always want good news for Illinois, and you guys at Illinois Policy are really good at providing solutions. And you've been banging the drum. We need pension reform for a long time. We've got new leadership, at least Speaker of the House in Illinois. You kind of hit on this, but I want to know: are you guys optimistic that we actually could get something done with pension reform here soon?
Absolutely. I think that really you mentioned new leadership, a combination of things with voters standing up for themselves at the ballot box in November, rejecting a $3.4 billion tax hike, with lawmakers seeing that and then rejecting a $1 billion tax hike that the governor was pushing for a couple weeks ago. And then with new leadership in Springfield, I do feel more optimistic than ever, really, about getting meaningful pension reform. So I would tell, Illinoisans like yourself out there who may feel that, we're constantly getting bad news. I think that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and we're doing our best to get there.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Bryce. Bryce Hill, Senior Research Analyst at Illinois Policy. Folks, you can follow everything Illinois Policy, illinoispolicy.org. The article, down 423,000 jobs, 2020 marks the worst year for jobs in Illinois history. Hopefully this was the bottom, and the only way to go is up. Let's hope. And I know the folks at Illinois Policy are not just hoping, they're trying to put forward policy proposals that would help make that happen. Bryce, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Bryce will be back with us next week, I am sure. Hey, we're going to go to a quick break here. I have been negligent in not taking many calls today because we had so many guests, which was wonderful. A lot of great content. Hope you all enjoyed it. But we have 2 segments left, and we'd be happy to take your phone calls. So any of you all, I apologize if I didn't get to you earlier. A lot of you called in, had to drop off. If you'd like to call back, we can take those calls now at 314-241-9797. That's 314-241-9797. We're also going to discuss the differences between equality versus equity. Huge difference, even though they almost sound the same. Lots more of that straight ahead here at the Andy Frey Show at 97.1 FM Talk.
You're listening to the Andy Frey Show. Talk lines are open now at 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797.
Tune into the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del, self-made millionaire and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, will show you how to live the life of your dreams and pay for it with passive income.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
Root Insurance is all about you and how you drive, which puts you in control. In fact, your driving is the number one factor we use to give you a better price. Root is different from traditional insurers. By using the sensors in your smartphone, we can understand important details about how you actually drive. Just download the Root app, get on the road, and we'll take care of the rest. The app measures your driving behavior, like turning and braking, and gives you a custom rate based on driving, not your job or education like other insurers. In short, you have the power to control your own rates. And the better you drive, the better your rate. Plus, it's fast and easy. The app walks you through each step so you understand what you're getting and get what's right for you. It's car insurance made for you, in your control. Download the Root app today and see how easy car insurance can be. Disclaimers may apply. See joinroot.com for details.
With mortgage rates at historic lows and homes selling with multiple offers, why would you ever pay more than 4? I'm Christina Straight. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444. 441 all fours.
Straight Realty has sold over $250 million in the St. Louis area. No matter who you are, if saving money and commissions is important to you, then call me. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444. 314-441 all fours.
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri. Hey guys, Glover here for a brand new sponsor of the show, Legacy Box. If you listen to the show, you know how into my family history I am, and pictures of my great grandparents and videos from when my mom and dad shot reel to reel with my brother and sister going to Florida in the 50s. All of this stuff is deteriorating. You can send it off to Legacy Box. It's super, super simple. I'm in the process of doing it right now. You just put it all into the Legacy Box. You send it off. They digitize it. You can have it stored on the cloud, a thumb drive, a DVD, along with all of your original media that you sent. Of course, you get that back. It's completely safe. It's very affordable, and you're going to be so glad that you did it. So will your kids. So will your grandkids. Go to legacybox.com/Glover right now to take advantage of a 50% offer. This exclusive offer won't last long, so order the kit now and send it in whenever you're ready. That's legacybox.com/Glover for 50% off.
Drafty old windows make your home uncomfortable and really drive up energy bills. The solution? Modern, gorgeous Infinity by Marvin fiberglass windows installed by Lakeside, the exclusive Infinity Windows dealer in St. Louis. Custom-fit, energy-efficient Infinity by Marvin windows are 8 times stronger than vinyl. They block the cold and keep your home cozy and bright. Request a free Windows consultation from Lakeside Renovation and Design at 636-978-5000. That's 636-978-5000. You'll love your home all over again.
Bomarito, Missouri's #1 automotive group, has the largest selection of pre-owned vehicles. All makes, models, and price ranges. Plus, every vehicle up to 100,000 miles includes the most comprehensive warranty in the market. Motor Trend certified vehicles powered by Bomarito. Buy a pre-owned vehicle worry-free with peace of mind. The best backed pre-owned vehicles in America are Motor Trend certified vehicles powered by Bomarito. Now at every Bomarito location or 24/7 at Bomarito.com.
Hello, everybody. Sean Rimmerman of We're Having a Senior Moment every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. on 97.1 FM Talk. This week, we're going to be talking with Ryan Morgan of Pursuit Fitness. He is a fantastic coach, and he'll tell you all about how he helps people to live their best lives possible. So join us this Saturday morning at 7 a.m. And don't forget, live to be the tide. Be that person who lifts up all around you.
The latest local forecast and severe weather coverage you can count on from the name in St. Louis weather.
This is 97.1's Chief Meteorologist, Dave Murray.
On 97.1 FM Talk, powered by Air Comfort Service.
I was trying to find my way home, but all I heard was a drone bouncing off a satellite, crushing the last known American night. This is radio nowhere, Is there anybody alive out there? This is radio nowhere. Is there anybody alive out there? House sitting around a dead dial. Just another lost number in a file. Dancing down a dark road. Just searching for
You.
Oh, did that cut off on me?
Yeah, it's okay. It might be the stinger
Might
piece
be
you
the-
never using. Yep.
So that was Peter Ducey talking to Joe Biden, and Joe Biden makes a quip back at Ducey. I think they're going to actually have a good relationship because Ducey, unlike Acosta, Peter Ducey is not mean. Like Jim Acosta was cruel, right? Ducey's like, look, I'm going to ask you a serious, tough question, but I'm not going to be a jerk about it.
Well, I don't think that Peter Ducey has any underlying intentions. That's where I think I don't think he's going after Joe Biden because he absolutely hates Joe Biden. I think he's just trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And intentions has everything to do with how you pose the question, what questions you're asking. And I feel like Jim Acosta hated Trump.
So Biden says to Ducey, I talked with Putin about you and, quote, he sends you his best. So
well,
I thought it was funny.
I thought it was funny.
I know there were people complaining that, well, Biden didn't answer his question, but I mean, that stuff's just kind of funny.
I
My
agree.
question, though, is do you know if there's anybody outside of Peter Ducey who's allowed in the press room who's asking questions beyond what the color of Air Force One's going to be, what your favorite ice cream flavor is?
No, I don't think so.
I didn't think there was. Yeah, it's pretty much him, right?
The only not in the American press, Ryan, not in the American press. And I say that because I did see part of the news conference the other day with Jen Psaki, as I call her. Jen.
It's hard not to, I know.
Yeah, Jen Psaki. That's what her name is, right?
Yeah.
I want to know why she's not wearing a mask on federal property. Huh?
Oh, that's a good question.
As she sprays her pathogens all over the White House house briefing room. Right? Spraying my pathogens all over the microphone. Sorry.
Oh,
I'll wipe it off.
There you go,
We'll
Dave
wipe
Glover Show.
all-
We wipe
all.
everything.
Yes.
We'll wipe everything.
We do.
Yes. So Jen Psaki was asked, there was all the softballs. So Ryan, she took all the softball questions from the American press. I think she got a hard question, difficult question from Peter Ducey. And then there was a I shouldn't say this. I thought he was foreign press, but maybe he just had a really cool accent. I don't know. But he was asking her some tough questions about the issues going on in the Middle East, about the state of Israel. And they were tough, legitimate questions. So I don't know if he was Israeli press or whatever. I'm not sure. I didn't recognize him. Never saw him before. But it was a tough question. I'm like, and I didn't recognize him. So I'm like, well, that guy's not from MSNBC. I knew that, It wasn't from CNN and it wasn't from NBC, CBS, or ABC. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, Ryan, it is a great question. Is anybody in the American media other than Peter Ducey or I tell you, there's another guy you guys need to watch for. He's actually a good friend of mine. His name's John Gizzy. He's from Newsmax. He's the White House correspondent for Newsmax. He looks, if you were doing central casting for an old gumshoe detective or reporter from like the 50s or 60s, you would draw a picture of John Gizzy. He's kind of a big, tall guy. He's a bit fleshy, and he's got the fedora, the brown fedora, and the brown trench coat.
Oh
Yeah.
man, the trench coat.
Right out of central casting.
The trench coat.
John Gizzy from Newsmax. John Gizzy will ask, he asks Trump tough questions. He asks really good, insightful, tough, fair questions. So we had 4 years of gotchas with Donald Trump, and now we're going to have 4 years of softballs, I guess, with Joe Biden.
Man, for all of the complaining that the media did about Trump and he's calls us the enemy of the people and so forth. He took questions from everybody all the time. I mean, there wasn't a moment where he wouldn't stop and answer a question for the most part. He's the most accessible president, at least in my memory. And I think we're going to see the exact opposite. We already are from Biden. They've been talking about, should we ban the conservatives from the press room? Because all they are is misinformation anyway. So we don't really need them here, right?
Gosh, that puts a pit in my stomach.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, it really is. Now I'm going to play. Katie got this clip of Neil Crabtree, this Keystone Pipeline worker.
Yep.
I want to play this really fast because he and Jen Psaki keep getting Joe Biden, President Biden, and Jen Psaki, and all their surrogates keep getting asked, well, what are you going to do about these jobs that you are literally eliminating before our eyes?
The president was able to, put us out of work by signing a piece of paper, but I'm the one that had to look these people in the eye and tell them they didn't have a job anymore. So if I got a little emotional, I think that's only human. The government don't create jobs. The private sector in this country creates the jobs. The government can, however, destroy jobs and kill jobs. They showed you that Thursday by killing my job.
Boy, there's a pretty erudite blue-collar worker right there, huh? And that's why you should never judge anyone, no matter what side of the aisle they're on or what they look like or what they sound like. Okay, he's got a bit of a colloquial accent there, but apparently he knows a lot about macroeconomics, much more than apparently Joe Biden does. I mean, Ryan, we heard today that climate change is going to be at the center of everything that the Joe Biden administration does.
I tell you what,
doesn't that terrify
kind of
you a little bit?
It does. That's what bothers me the most about all these executive orders. There's been a lot of them, but some of them are just sort of stuff like the mask mandate on federal property and some of these things that whatever, here's my campaign promise. So I'm going to sign this executive order so I can say I did something about that. Nobody would do it but me.
Do you think he's taking thumbtacks and sticking them on the Oval Office, like around it? Like I did that and I did that.
Yeah. Except he couldn't get in the door the day of. So he's a little bit behind. I don't know if you saw that. That was funny. But the economic stuff is what bothers me because a lot of this stuff, it's not going to have a direct impact on you and me. Little things here and there that you have to just kind of roll your eyes at, but the economic stuff will.
Yes.
The economic stuff's going to hurt all of us, not just people who lost their job because they worked on the Keystone Pipeline. That stuff is going to ripple outward, and it's not just affecting them either. Like it's not just those 70,000 jobs. That's money that's not in the economy. And there's a whole lot of other jobs that are going to be affected if he keeps shutting down other energy sector jobs. People are going to start having to figure out what to do if he opens up immigration more and just allows immigrants to come without being vetted like Trump was doing with Mexico at the border. All these things are going to affect all of our lives because the economy is going to be worse. Your money's not going to go as far if they keep spending government money. Your money's not going to go as far if they pass minimum wage increases. Those things are what concerns me.
You're right. And to show you how bipartisan and magnanimous I am, I'm actually going to direct people, maybe for the first time ever, to CNN.com, believe it or not, because I found a chart. Of now, unfortunately, they're going to have to update it because I think they're about 8 or 10 executive orders behind now. And not that long ago, it's not their fault because he keeps signing them like at random. This was published yesterday or the day before. This is 30 executive orders. Biden signed 30 executive orders in his first 3 days as president. So I guess they'll eventually update this chart. But I like this chart because there's no editorializing in it. It is the date the executive order was signed, the topic, and they've made it very simple. It's basically economy, coronavirus, a lot of coronavirus. What other topics do we have here? A lot of coronavirus.
Social stuff.
Environment. Equity. There you go, Katie. We got to talk about equity, equality. Equity, census, immigration, ethics, and regulation. So, it just gives you the topic. It gives you whether it's a reversal of an existing Trump executive order. So I think that's important. And then it gives you a summary. And thank goodness the summaries are so short. There's, like I said, no editorial, not much editorializing at all. It's just a very short phrase. So, Ryan, you can go on this, and our listeners can too. I hate to have you go to CNN.com, but I haven't found any other chart as this simple. And you can see what Joe Biden is ordering to be done in the country and what the effect of that order is going to be. And, Ryan, there's a lot of them on the economy. And, Ryan, you're right. Those are the ones that are going to affect not only you and I, but as far as I can tell, they're not going to affect the wealthy. And they're not going to affect the uber poor, the people who are just, like the mentally ill, who they're on full public assistance and they're in the social safety net. I know some people aren't, but it's not going to affect those people. It's going to be everybody in the middle who's struggling, right? The working poor, the middle class, because guess who's going to pay for things like the loss of the Keystone XL pipeline? Who's going to pay for us entering the Paris Climate Accord? Who's going to pay when your utility rates start being doubled and tripled? The wealthy don't care. The poor have assistance for those things. The middle class is going to have to figure out where to find it in the monthly checkbook. Right?
Yeah, exactly. The middle class always suffers in socialist policies. The high, like you were saying, the highest earners and really biggest businesses benefit from socialist policies because they squash competition and they benefit the biggest companies that can outlast all the regulations. In fact, a lot of those big companies, as you probably well know, Tim, a lot of them want more regulations because it keeps them at the top. It keeps them monopolized. So we're going to see the rich. I think we were just talking about this last hour. The rich are going to get richer. Income inequality, like DeRoy Murdoch was saying, is going to get worse under this administration because you're not lifting up the bottom. You're just sort of holding the top where they are.
And do you think that the unions, the laborers, I'm talking about the laborers, not the public sector unions. That's a whole different story, a whole other can of worms. They're at the bottom of my totem pole. Can I say totem pole anymore? Or is that cultural appropriation?
Nope. I think you can.
It's all right. Ladder?
I don't know.
Can I just say ladder?
I'll look and see, and I'll get back to you.
Is ladder a slur to me since I'm a short guy? I mean, you know, yeah. I have to use a ladder.
Well, it's not, but it was.
Where's my protected class?
I cannot, Tim. I cannot.
She's like, I actually let you in here of my own free will. Hey, you know who's on TV right now? I'm like a dog. Squirrel. Yeah. Squirrel. I love Richard Grinnell.
He's great.
Former U.S. ambassador to Germany. He was acting DNI guy for a while. So I think he's fantastic.
Oh, he doesn't put up with.
No, he doesn't pull punches.
Anything.
Nope.
Doesn't put up with it.
Where was I going before I started talking about ladders and totem poles? I forgot. I was talking about some of these executive orders, environment, blah, blah, blah. Oh, the unions, the laborers, right?
Yes.
Do you think the labor unions, like maybe the guys and ladies who build pipelines and things, are feeling a little buyer's remorse right now?
I mean, look at Neil Crabtree. I think that was his name.
He's a union foreman.
He's like, holy cow, with one fall swoop,
He's
my
like, what
job
just
is
happened?
taken away. And I mean, you're seeing a lot of things on Twitter, clips that people that work on the Keystone Pipeline that are like, I had a job yesterday and now I don't have a job. And now I have to battle for unemployment along with the millions of other people that are battling for unemployment.
That's
and hoping
a great
that I
point.
can get it.
Why did we have to do, the royal we, the Joe Biden we, why did we have to do this right now? Couldn't we have waited 6 months when COVID has hopefully kicked in the tail and everybody's back to work? And couldn't we have maybe thought this? Could you maybe have fired up this green machine that you think exists and provided these people like, okay, the Keystone Pipeline is canceled, but you get to go work over here at the Solyndra Solar Factory. That's not here anymore. That's right. Forgot it failed.
It's whenever it's what your parents taught you growing up. You should not quit one job without having another job as the backup. You shouldn't be leaving your job without already being secure.
These people didn't have a choice, did they? I mean, you would have thought, how about so I think DeRoy Murdoch mentioned this, or one of our guests, that DeRoy did. We all hoped and prayed we were going to get the moderate Joe Biden of the last 50 years, the Joe Biden that generally has been the moderate Joe Biden. Instead, we've got the Joe Biden who's been hijacked by the left. And they are pursuing every crazy left-wing, liberal, woke type of activity they can, whether or not it makes any economic sense. Will
we see some conservative policies go through from Biden?
I don't know. There's some of these executive orders are not horrible. I guess that's the best I can say. I just don't know if there's anything that's going to help us climb out of a global pandemic through the best thing that would provide a job, and that would be economic growth, like not government expansion. So anyway, let's take a break, and then when we come back, I promise, equality or equity? Equity, equality. Brad wanted us to discuss that, and we're going to dig into that when we come back. There's a huge difference, and it's one of these things. You're hearing that word in everything they're saying. They're using it for their manifestation of what gender should be, climate. We're hearing climate equity. What the heck's climate equity? And so on and so forth. So it's a very important word. You need to understand the difference between them. When we come back, we'll discuss that with Katie, Ryan, and myself here at the Annie Frey Show at 97.1 FM Talk.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign up your veteran for their Honor Flight today at gsLhonorflight.org. For free HVAC estimates, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Hi, this is Lance Drury. If you have payroll tax problems, you have serious legal problems, you need an attorney. Call 314-260-6120 or toll free 888-367-6512 or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
I love hearing from you folks after you've gone to Stewie and you say, Annie, thank you so much. This has been life-changing for me. I've had you talk to me about how working with Stewie and doing the bagel loan was a no-brainer, and your only regret is that you didn't do it sooner. I understand that. I did a refi with the bagel loan at Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage in October-ish of 2019. And every time I pay my mortgage, I'm grateful that Stewie helped me get that lower payment. And I think, honestly, it set us up so that in 2020, when things were a little off, let's not be ridiculous here, they were way off. It was helpful to have that lower monthly payment. Here's how you get the bagel loan for you. First of all, if you want to refi and you owe $250,000 or more on your home and your rate's currently in the 3s or more, call him and get that lower rate and that lower monthly payment or less years on the length of your mortgage today. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Stewart'sAMC.com, NMLS number 226715.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the Mark Cox Morning Show.
Hey guys, Glover here for my good friends, and they are my good friends, George and Mike, the owners of ThrottleNet, the IT place. Let me right out of the chute give you throttlenet.com/971 because I really think you're going to want to go at least check out the website. Here's the deal. They do comprehensive IT. They do everything from protection, from ransomware and phishing schemes, which, by the way, have gotten so much worse since most of our workers are working from home. It's so much easier to infiltrate your company through a home computer. We take care of all of that. We maximize your profits and we minimize your expenses through IT. The industry standard in St. Louis is 3 hours from the time you contact your IT provider and say, I've got a problem. It takes them 3 hours to get back to you. In 2020, the average for ThrottleNet was 1 minute and 57 seconds. I think that says a lot. We have continuing webinars going on. Check them all out at throttlenet.com/971.
I'm listening daily. You are not alone. During these challenging times, listening is fundamental to promoting understanding and healing. Here's Luke Combs on dealing with anxiety.
My mental health is good these days. Trying to stay positive, doing everything I can to have an optimistic outlook. I am somebody who has struggled with anxiety a lot in my past. It's been actually a really huge part of my life. A couple ways or tools, I guess you would say, to maintain my mental health is making myself aware to the things that I know I'm prone to. Information is key for things like that, and knowing what you're dealing with and how they operate has been one of the biggest things for me. And knowing when maybe some of those things that are happening to you, being aware or cognizant of the way your mind works in certain situations has been the most important thing for me.
Talk has the power to save lives, and you are not alone. Find out more at imlistening.org. The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Stacey on the right. Time for some of these Democrats to apologize for allowing this lawlessness, for allowing the degradation of our culture. Come back to the center, buff up on your morals, and fix this thing. Just wake up.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9.
On the mound, Brian has a 6-0 record, 55 strikeouts in 38 innings.
There's Tyler. He just finished racing the second moto.
Rusty barbed wire lines these fields, gravel dust behind the wheels, drifting like my mind into the rear view.
Now there's Amazon.com. It's a real company. Jeff Bezos, who owns it, is strongly for mail-in voting when mail-in voting allows his parties to take control of everything. You're a bigot if you oppose that. But when it comes to union elections in his own company, elections that might require Jeff Bezos to pay his long-suffering workers decent wages and benefits, Jeff Bezos is totally opposed to it. Amazon is fighting mail-in balloting in its union election in Alabama right now. Amazon.com's position is that an election decided by mail-in ballots wouldn't be, and we're quoting, valid or fair.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
No, come on, President Biden. Be nice. I love how Tucker Carlson starts off. Amazon, it's a real company.
It's a real company. Is this an old clip?
I mean, Ryan, you can't make this stuff up, right? I mean, Amazon says, oh, universal universal cheat by mail for thee, but not for we, right? I mean, you know,
how amazing is that?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about on Amazon's a big company, but a much smaller scale vote.
And they don't
than
trust
the
it.
United States of America, and they don't even trust that.
They don't trust it.
Yeah.
I got one more clip for you just to show the height of hypocrisy on the, well, I don't know. Well, I think Fauci loves himself some big government. So let me just put it at that. It's from Fauci. Here we go.
But when you're dealing with a global pandemic, you need a global organization to coordinate. You have to be part of the global community. If you're not involved with the WHO, which interacts with all the countries, even with all its flaws, which it does have, the better part of really what we should be doing is joining back with them. We should put their feet to the fire about getting reforms.
So I think he went on to say there something about because it came from Wuhan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He referenced the fact that, well, because it came from Wuhan. Well, I thought you couldn't say that, number one, but, you know, because it's racist. But number two, it's the truth, right? So, again, now that Donald Trump is gone, it's like all of a sudden we can tell the truth about things, you know?
Well, and I think this is one of those executive orders that I disagree with Joe Biden because
The WHO one?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of misinformation that happened in the beginning of coronavirus, and they had a huge part to play with misinformation. So if we're going to ridicule sides and call out people for perpetuating something like that, they need to be held accountable, and we should not be allowing them to be back feeding us more information. I just don't see why that was an important executive order to sign.
Yeah. Now, equity and equality. So equality is what DeRoy Murdoch said at the beginning of the show. And we'll remind everybody that DeRoy happens to be one of those things that one of those people that the liberal media network says doesn't exist. He's a African-American conservative. He's a staunch conservative. And he calls it like it is. Epic truth bombs. I love listening to DeRoy. He's on all the time on the Big Fox. And he said, you know, equality is written everywhere across government. It's been there since the beginning of time. He goes, DeRoy's like, I love equality. We all should. It's having the opportunity to be, you should be treated equal before the law, especially before the law, right? People should be treated with equality. Equity, let me give you another word for equity. I mentioned to Katie during one of the breaks. Equity, another word for equity, especially when the government is using it, is redistribution. Okay. So think about that. Equality versus redistribution. Equity, equality is something that you should be, it's something that you have a right to. But do you have a right to make as much money as the person next door? Now, most people would say, well, work harder, right? Equity takes you out of a meritocracy and says you're going to get rewarded basically for breathing longer than the person next to you, right? It's the idea that you're going to get, It's the seniority scale, right? It's the idea, like what DeRoy said. Well, the people at the top, the few oligarchs in the country, they'll benefit the most from equity because they'll be the ruling class. And then everybody else will be, according to DeRoy, which is a great way to put it, he said, equally miserable, right? So that equity is not a rising tide that lifts all boats.
This is something that
Equity is mediocrity.
Brad Range said on our page, and I thought it was great too. He said, picture it like this. There are 3 people trying to look over a fence. One tall, one medium, and one short. Equality would be giving them all the same box to stand on. The tall guy would, equality. The tall guy could always see over the fence, but the box helps the medium guy see over the fence. But the short guy still cannot see over the fence. Equity takes the tall guy's box and gives it to the short guy so that he can see over the fence. But it wasn't achievable without taking something from someone else and giving it to another.
Yeah, you're going to have to take something from somebody else. That's the point of equity, because it's the idea. It's kind of like affirmative action, which a lot of conservative folks of color, a lot of folks who are in the minority category in our country, who are minorities, who are conservatives, like Thomas Sowell, like the famous Thomas Sowell, he'll say, that affirmative action is horrible because, it's basically, it's racist, it's discriminatory because, if someone who is, if someone who's black and someone who's white and they're equally skilled and they're equally qualified, well, affirmative action says, well, you have to give it to the minority. And a lot of people say, well, that's racist, right? A lot of black conservatives will say, well, that's racist. You shouldn't practice that way. Equity is making everybody the same and everybody miserably the same eventually. It's what they do in communist and socialist nations. Versus equality is giving everybody an equal opportunity.
So why is this part of Biden's agenda? Like, why is equity now part, like a focus, an executive order that he's putting together?
Because equality is no longer good enough. Equity is woke. Okay.
Yeah, equity, and Susan Rice and Joe Biden both gave these speeches yesterday. We carried parts of them anyway. They both tied it to race, and basically have said that, well, race and economics, more importantly, economics, because when you tie equity to economics, what you're saying is we want to make sure that everybody has the same outcome, not the same opportunity, which is equality, same outcome.
There you go.
And so if everybody has the same outcome, what you're doing economically is you're literally encouraging and trying to bring in communism. Now, they've tied it to race issues because that's the way that they think is going to be the most palatable to the American people to bring that in. But that's ultimately the goal, is equality of outcome, which is just straight up communism. That's
how you beat everybody over the head, right? You use the ist stuff, nativist, sexist, misogynist. That's how you shame people into doing it. But Ryan, I love the way you put it there, is that, equality is about giving everybody equal opportunity. Equity is giving everybody the same outcome. And when you do that, that's the old Soviet Bolshevik style of the market, right? Where, everybody puts on the same gray clothes, goes to the same gray factory and makes the same gray widgets, right?
And eats the same gray cheese.
You got that right.
That's so important, I think, for people that are my age. And of course, like, I'm just speaking for myself, but at 28 years old, concepts like this, I don't really remember learning about this in school. And of course, I can do my own independent research. That's on me too. But when it comes to being 28 and being introduced into with a lot of these new concepts, you do need them in layman's terms. You need them to be broken down so that you can understand.
They don't want them in layman's terms, though. They want to confuse you. They want to give you a new term and make it sound better, because if they gave you the real one, the old one, you'd go, whoa, well, I'm not into that. But this one, actually, that one sounds pretty good.
Gabe Pfeiffer, St. John the Philosopher, listening to us on the stream, says the Biden administration is looking to be the most hostile to real science in recent history. Could not agree with Gabe more on that. And then he had one here at the end. Equity is the communist buzzword of our times. There you go, Ryan. Ryan Wiggins. Yeah, exactly what we were just talking about there, right? And I hope folks, we haven't even gotten into climate equity. I don't even know where to go there. I have to unpack that apple cart.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It makes my head hurt, but they used it. They used it in the press conference today.
Yeah,
they did. So I don't know. Well, we'll have to try to talk about that and unpack that tomorrow. We'll have another jam-packed show for you. We're about out of time here today. Ryan, Katie, great being with you, of course, as always.
I'm so happy that you made it in.
Yeah.
I'm happy the snow didn't stop you and you made it in.
I made it in. I can make it home now. Looks like the roads are clear. Folks, be careful out there, though. It's going to be supposed to be really cold tonight. So everything's going to be slick and nasty. So be careful when you're out and about. Want to thank everybody who listened to us on the terrestrial radio, on the streams, on the whatevers, right? On your Alexas or what else do you listen to us on? Your Siri's? I don't know.
Pretty much anything.
Everywhere, Tim. We're everywhere.
Everywhere. You want to be the YouTubes, the
Radio.com.
Facebooks. Hey, there's my favorite talking lady, Jen Psaki. She's on right now. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what she has
Lady in
to
red.
say when we come back later. Ryan, great to see you. Katie, I'll be back here tomorrow. Folks, keep it right here. The DGS is up next on 97.1 FM Talk.
So beat the drum with me. I'm not a man.
A reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo. What is Zipline? It's Golden Oak's fast and easy online mortgage tool that leaves you with more time to plan a family movie night.
I get to pick the movie.
And clean up the popcorn you weren't planning on sharing. At Golden Oak Lending, we speak mortgage and love translating it. Right now, rates are at a historic low 2.5%. Visit goldenoaklending.com to use